Hi everyone, and how are you doing? I am Vee Mus'e, and I am here with the ever so fantastic and wonderful Tito and Shelly Mazzanoble. And today we're going to be painting some red slaads from WizKids. So I am already seeing some fantastic people in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. It is great to see you there. As you can tell, looking at the icons, we have people coming in over from Twitch and YouTube for WizKids. And don't forget, we also have things piping over to IGN as well as to D&D's Twitch channel too. So we can see your comments happening over here in the chat, which is normally like right here next to me during my usual streams, but as you can tell, there's something in between. But we'll be taking a look at what you have to say in the chat as well. But today we're going to be focusing on creating one of these lovely fellows using the WizKids Paint Night Kit event that you can get at your local store. So hopefully you're able to head over to your local store, pick up one of these beautiful kits, and you can hop in and join us today as we paint this. Now, little disclaimer, I'm going to be gearing this towards beginners because if rumor has it correctly, Greg and Shelly, neither of you have painted before, right?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Never done anything like this. I mean, I've painted my house. I've painted a chair.
Never, but you're good at drumming the miniature.
The town.
You're painting the town. Yes. So we're going to have some fun painting up another one of these. So don't worry, I have another one to start fresh from. But if you've never painted before, this is the place to be. I'm going to walk you through it step by step, and you have everything you need in this fantastic kit. So I'm going to break the kit down for you really quick, just so you know what's going on with it. So you have the blister packet, and this blister packet is actually going to act as your palette as well. You can see you have some lovely wells at the top here. If you haven't yet, I'm going to recommend you fill up your container with some water. Shelly, you're like, oh wait, that's what it's for? So you can fill this up. Yep, it's like it's everything in one handy dandy little package. So you can fill this up with some water as well, so you can use it for rinsing your brushes as well as thinning your paints. And then in here you have all the paints you are going to need for this lovely creation. And these are all Vallejo paints, keep that in mind. Also, little heads up, I keep the focus on the mini, so if you see things go blurry on my desk, that's why. You don't really need to worry what's on here. It's more what's coming up closer. But all the paints for tonight are going to be right in this palette that we have going on here. I do recommend that you give them a little shake or stir. Depends on which bond you want to be. So give it a little paint, give it a little stir, and that way we can get going. Now, let me talk about the miniature itself. You're going to pop out the mini. I always do this in terms of how to handle your mini. I'll take an empty pill bottle and fill it up with some sand and then use blue tack, stick it on the top of the cap, and this becomes my little impromptu mini holder for painting. However, you will still be able to paint this if you don't have this set up. If you don't have this set up on a pill bottle, all you'll need to do is, Greg has it on Candle Keep Mysteries. Hello. So you have it on your book. Marketing. So you can have it where you have it on your pill bottle, or you could actually just hold it here on the base itself, because I'm going to be saving this towards the end. And then you can give it some dry time before you're handling the miniature itself. So you can work with this without a holder. I just want to make sure that people are aware of that as well. And again, thank you to everyone who is joining us in the chat. We do have WizKids staff in the chat, so if you have any questions, this is for WizKids channels and only, keep that in mind. So if you have any questions for WizKids, hop over into our channels and go ahead and feel free to ask any questions you may have, and they're going to do their best to answer them for you. I'm going to do what I can, but y'all chatty tonight. I'm going to do what I can to see what you're saying in the chats as well to get things going. And what do you think? You guys ready for this one?
I think so.
Yeah?
So ready.
You ready? All right. So
Yes.
this is already primed for you, so you won't need to worry about priming this miniature. If you're not familiar with miniatures, you do want to make sure you prime your minis if they come unprimed. This is because the primer helps the paint adhere better to the plastic or the metal of the miniature. However, WizKids takes that step out for you by having them come primed and ready to use out of the blister, or in this case, the kit. So what we're going to do, you're going to want to take a look at your brushes, because you're getting 2 brushes with this kit. And you have a fine detail brush, which you notice has a slightly smaller point to it. And then you also have a multi-purpose brush, your Lilu Dallas brush, I'm kidding. So you have your multi-purpose brush, and as you can tell, it has a little bit more length and a little bit more bristles to it. So we're actually going to start with the multi-purpose brush, and you're going to start with using the color Black Red. And the way I'm going to approach painting this particular slab is sort of like coloring book techniques, just because I find it helps with beginner painters figure out more easily how to start getting into painting the mini. And again, the most important thing about painting a miniature, especially if you're just starting, is just jump into it. If you get caught up when it has to be perfect, it has to be just so, oh, no, 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 no. Once you get into it, once you start learning how to work the paints onto the miniature, that's where you can start fine-tuning and getting your skills more honed. But for today, let's get color onto the mini and see what we end up with. That's really the whole goal of today, is to get the paint onto the miniature and see what the end result is. So we're going to start first with the color Black Red. And there will be times I tell you to thin the paints, and there'll be times where I say you don't need to worry about thinning the paint for whatever reason. I am of the mini painting school where you will hear everyone joke around, thin your paints. There are times where that's applicable, absolutely. But I find sometimes just a little bit of paint will go a long way. So if you're not used to thinning paints, that's okay. I'll explain how to do it when we get to that point. But for this one, we're just going to jump right into, I'm trying to open this up without spilling on myself too. We're going to open this up to Black Red. And your paint is usually a good consistency when it's sort of like, think like ketchup or maple syrup, when it has that viscosity to the paint. I find that's a good paint thinned level personally. I was trying to use food too that people can relate to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into my Black Red here. And I'm using the multi-details, or the multi-purpose brush, not the details brush. And you don't want to dunk it in so the bristles go all the way. You just want to get the upper portion of your brush in.
I literally just dunked it
you
in.
Want...
Says you were saying that.
Whoops.
Okay.
If that should happen, that's why paper towels are very handy. You can always take your paper towel and wipe off a little bit of the excess paint so that you're not overloading your brush, because that can happen. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to first start off with, we're going to paint in the deeper grooves of this miniature. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and you don't have to worry about getting paint on other things. I'm just going to put the Black Red right into the mouth itself. Okay, and as you can see, into his mouth, and I'm even covering up the teeth because we'll get to the teeth in a little bit. But for now, I want to get this so that it is going into those nooks and cranny grooves. Think, you know how the Joker looks like with his makeup?
Yes.
That's kind of what we're creating right now.
Okay.
We're just getting that Black Red into there.
This is actually kind of what I look like when I try to put on lipstick.
Oh
no. It ends up all in the side of your mouth?
Uh-huh.
Totally.
It's like totally that aunt gives you a kiss type of lipstick all over the mouth.
Yep. Ooh.
You know, like, you know.
Okay, and you said it's okay to cover those teeth.
Mm-hmm. Totally okay to cover the teeth. We're going to get back to the teeth later. And as you can tell, I'm even being messy about it. It's okay not to be neat at this point.
Okay.
Oh, here I was trying to be all delicate.
No, you don't need the delicate touch at this point. That can come later.
Oh boy.
Yep. So you can see I got the mouth.
Okay.
So once you get the mouth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move down into, you know, dude's got some pecs. So I'm going to put it into this area where all these deep grooves that are happening around the pectorals.
Okay.
And again, same thing, just.
Okay, like all right, now all the way, you're going, yeah, you're going in
Mm-hmm.
there.
I'm going in. I'm going all in here, Shelly.
Okay. All the way all
full throttle.
And now if you were to like, say, you know what? I'm really satisfied with this mini. Thanks, Vee.
Yep.
That was fun.
We
could just be done.
If you want to, absolutely. If you want this to be the Joker Slaad for all intents and purposes, you absolutely could do that if you wanted to. So yeah, I'm basically just getting this Black Red where it needs to go. And I'm focusing.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, you'll see.
Okay, that part all the way up.
Because you have all those nooks and cranny grooves that are happening. So we're kind of layering the colors on.
So the idea with this is that we're creating those shadows with this dark color first.
Yep, we're basically applying the shadows. You got it.
Greg.
Look, Greg, look at you. You said this was your first?
Those
Look at you knowing terminology.
Here, I'm just like,
I'm impressed.
It's red paint.
She's saying red, and it's red. This is cool. And same thing.
So far, so good.
I'm going to do some of this right in between where the upper thigh meets the torso.
You're really trying real hard not to use words there.
We're going to get to a section, folks, where I'm going to do my best to say this tactfully. I have been debating how I'm going to say this area tactfully when we get to that area soon. Yeah, that was one of those things. I'm sitting there and I'm test painting the first go around. I'm like, I may have to say a phrase I never thought I'd have to say a phrase for miniature painting, but here we are.
This part's a little messy, but
that's okay. You can be messy at this point.
Okay.
It is absolutely okay to be messy.
Now, are we going all the way around?
I'm doing it just in where the thigh meets the torso, and you get that fold to the skin area right through there.
But you're not doing.
I'm not doing all the way around like as if it were just jointed. Well, we're gonna have some fun.
Okay.
Because we are going to turn it around, and yes, as Shelly said it first. We are going to make sure we get this paint to course through. You have this back panel here, and work it through the Great Divide at the bottom.
The Great Divide.
That was the only way I could think of saying it without it being a little bit too.
Are we not allowed to say that?
I don't know. I think we can. I think we could say if we wanted to. I think butt crack is okay. But I was trying to make sure it wasn't too distasteful or clutching.
I will say that out of everything we've done so far, the Great Divide is by far, I've done that the neatest.
Well,
it's
there
really
you go.
Good. I did a really good job on that part.
Excellent. That's good. So yeah, we're basically going to keep going around and just getting into these deeper groove areas. The other thing you can do with minis is you can also flip your minis around to get into better angles if you need to, which is what I just did. Just because a mini is standing upright doesn't mean you have to always hold it upright to paint it.
Okay, you're going into that V in the back there. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
This is where the book is not necessarily the best thing so far, but I can lean it though, which is working.
Well, there you go.
I won't be able to do the flip like you're talking about. Though.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely not with a book. If you can do that with a book, I'm impressed. You've been holding out on this with your talents.
Now I have to try it.
Now you got to try.
He just wants to impress you, Vee.
Oh, sure, of course. So now I can see we have some lovely regulars in the chat, which is fantastic to see. But just in case we have some people who are new to the world of Dungeons and Dragons, I have these two lovely people painting with me today, and I want to give you each a chance to introduce yourselves and tell us more about you. So I'm just going to start at the very top. Shelly, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hi, I'm Shelly Mazzanoble. I work as a brand manager for Dungeons and Dragons. I've worked at Wizards of the Coast for so long now, since the dawn of time almost. So long that my job was listed in a newspaper. I found my job in a newspaper.
Seriously? Oh my God.
I really did.
I love it.
Yeah, but I love it. And I honestly just really love D&D. I love our community. I love the people I work with. I just can't really imagine working anywhere else that would be this much fun. Look at what I get to do.
Right? You get to paint minis and hang out and chat with people.
Yeah.
That's always fun. Yeah. Let's see here. We have Garar in Twitch saying, what is a newspaper?
Exactly.
That's a very good question.
Go ask your parents.
Go ask your parents. If you want to know more about Shelly, and if you want, man down, brush down. That's that. You'll see me do that too. Not to worry. Even the pros do it. If you want to be able to follow Shelly on things like Instagram and Twitter, guess what? You can do a nice little chat code command of !Shelly, and it should pull up Shelly's socials for you.
Stop.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And you can go check that out because Shelly does share some wonderful things. So I highly recommend it. See, look at ta-da! Thank you, WizKidCJ, for getting that activated for us. Now, I'm also really quick pointing out that I have these little areas in the underarm zone that I just went in and did.
Oh, okay.
Right there. They're not fins, but we're going to call them fins. And then I'm also going to put this into, you can see there's these smaller V's where the shoulder blades are. So I'm going to put the black red in there too.
Oh, up there on the top?
Right here. Because that's a deeper groove.
I like it.
Just like so.
Get into the groove like Madonna.
Get into the groove. And that's all I'm going to do because
I love that you just jumped right in there.
I tend to do that.
That spike, I love it.
I went to deeper shade of soul for some reason.
Did you now? Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you were not a teenage girl.
Oh
Says
my
you.
God. There are things we don't know clearly. So
Right, where are you now? You're under the sun.
I am on the shoulder blade zone. Getting this into those grooves on the shoulder blade. And there's actually a couple more that happen at the top here too. So right up here, well, as I'm pointing it out. So right up here, I'm also going to put some of the black red in there. And again, don't worry if this part is messy. It is totally okay if it's messy. So we've got to meet Shelly. So you know what that means, Greg.
That means it's my turn.
That's your turn now. I get to call on the class.
Well, I am Greg Tito. I have not worked at Wizards as long as Shelly has. I've been here since 2015, but I did a PAX East panel with Shelly in like 2013. Is that it was a while
Seems
back.
about right, yeah.
Yeah, with our friend Ethan Gilsdorf. And I've been before I started working here doing PR and stuff for Dungeons and Dragons. I was a game journalist writing about video games, but always wanting to write more about Dungeons and Dragons. So glad I landed this job. And then before that, I was a stand-up comedian and playwright in New York City.
Really?
And theater producer, theater carpenter, theater painter for professional shows. And tried to do my own stuff for a while too.
Oh, gee.
So now I get to combine all that fun stuff and talk a lot about D&D and paint some fun minis with my friends on a Friday afternoon.
Love it. That's fantastic. And, you know, got to make sure we do like for like. If you want to be able to follow Greg on his socials, guess what you can do? Just type in that command code of !Greg. And we have it so that you can check out his Instagram and his Twitter. And I do highly recommend following the Twitter account, especially because you also get some fun things along with D&D. You get some, what is that, Star Trek that floats around every so often?
Oh, yeah.
True. Yeah, I've been doing a podcast about watching Star Trek Next Generation and being a kid when it first came out. And then watching it now and being like, wow. Some of this holds up.
Some of it not so much. Yeah, no, I've done the similar thing because I loved watching Star Trek when I was a kid.
Me too.
Next Generation all the way. Yeah, and I went back to watch it, like binge watch on, whatever. And oh gosh, yeah, some of the stuff you're just kind of like, but then you're kind of like, okay, yeah, this still holds true.
Yeah, there's a lot of great sci-fi gems. First season, which we just finished, and we're about to hit season 2.
Fun. Okay, so while we were chatting, I did a couple more things. So we've taken it from the back. I went to up at the eyes. There are these deeper grooves that run along the eyes, almost like Egyptian makeup type of look, like you see from the hieroglyphics. So I did that on either side. And then you also want to make sure you get the back of the knees.
Back of the knees.
Back of the knees. And then there's also, we're going to move on to leg day. If you take a look at the legs, there are these grooves that are happening on the legs too. So you want to get those as well.
We got D&D fitness going on here.
Right? We're working on the legs now.
Jay Tallscrawl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't see it under the table, but I am certainly working out and getting as much exercise as I can.
Excellent.
Getting those steps in. All right.
Getting those steps in, exactly.
They have those things. It's like a little pedal bike. Or like those like up and down where you can put resistant bands or something on there. There's
almost did that
little things
in the doldrums of Seattle winter, where I'm like, I can't go outside to exercise, so I almost splurged and got that, but instead I just I went for the standing desk instead.
Well, there you go.
It helps.
I have one of those desks that converts, like you can have it so it's lower or higher if you want it to be, and I've done that. I've definitely I feel like standing up. So you kind of get into those grooves there with the black red. And like I said, it looks like, It's okay if it's messy at this point. And pardon me, I have cats and I have a cat hair in my mouth, so pardon me while I fix that.
In your mouth.
Better cat hair than hairball. So
Definitely.
this is sort of what you want to have this look like in the long run, with getting into all those little nooks and crannies. And you can even take it a step further, no pun intended. You can go and put some into between the toes of the feet a little bit if you really want to enhance those as well.
Between the toes? Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
put it between the toes.
When you did the grooves on the thighs too,
Yep,
getting that right now.
yep. Building up those shadows. And again, messy is okay. This is geared towards beginners.
Yeah, and not all Slaads look alike. It's
No, they
okay
don't.
if yours looks a little different.
I mean, they are chaotic creatures, so
Right.
Right?
you know, throw that into the mix there.
Lean into that chaos, I
Yes.
say.
Yeah, that thing.
Absolutely.
Can I see what you did around the eyes again?
Absolutely.
Egyptian makeup.
Yep, one quick little tuck on my side, and there's just this little groove that happens here
Okay.
that you can put some of there in. Just like that.
Is this pretty quick drying
It is.
paint? Like I'm not
Yep,
gonna
as long as you're
mess
not like putting on a whole bunch of paint. It's not like how when you do nail polish and you purposely try and get a good amount loaded onto your brush. It's
Right.
almost like a little bit the opposite of that. You don't want to put too much paint on and get it globbing up, because if you glob the paint up and you get it into the nooks and crannies, it actually starts to build on itself and you'll start to lose details. Which is why, you know, the joke is thin your paints. That's also to make sure you're not just going in straight up and loading all of your details up with paint that will dry and become hard, and then you lose your whatever those extra fine details were. Is basically what that's about. So this is what mine looks like. Definitely a nice little chaotic creature.
Okay. I feel
Okay.
like I'm not too far off.
Yeah. Like I said, now is not the time to worry about. Oh, well, Lauren already has paint on her hands. That's fantastic.
Oh,
Trust me. You should see what my hand can look like after painting minis sometimes. Like, I have actually had paint go from the top of my thumb down to beyond my wrist, because I'll just use it like a paint palette and like use for
Oh.
blotting and stuff. If I'm getting into a painting session and I know I'm going to be there for hours, my hand becomes my tester and everything like that. So what I'm going to mention now is, if you take a look down below this little fellow, you see there's this hashtag. If you want to show off your progress, then by all means post on your socials using the hashtag WK Paint Party. And what we're going to do is we're going to hop over and we're actually going to take a look at the
Oh, yay.
Twitter feed to see if anyone has started sharing some things with the progress of their minis. So anytime we have a little point where let's let this dry a little bit, we want the paint to dry just like a couple minutes here, I am going to quick transition over, and you can see right here, Shelly, look, you started us off. I'm actually going to refresh it though. So I'm going to do a quick refresh.
me. I'm
So
gonna
Shelly, you're
fix
still at the top. So here we have Shelly's post, but as you can see, because we have that hashtag in there, WK Paint Party, I now get to scroll through and see, oh, there's Greg giving us a heads up. So if you want to be able to share your progress, you can see right now we have all these fantastic people who are saying they are participating, which is lovely to see. And I am thrilled to see so many awesome names and people in there. We're going to go back in a little bit and take a look at this again and see what the progress is for people who are participating in this paint party. Because I know everyone's at home watching their computers or maybe their TV, or heck, even watching off of their phones. But I thought it'd be fun if we could have sort of this, collaborative community effort by jumping in and sharing it on socials. So I'm focusing on Twitter, simply because it's the quickest one for me to access. But you can also use this for Instagram if you'd like to. And if you're on TikTok, then by all means, use it over on TikTok. And what I'm hoping to do is next week is sort of like pull a nice little like, hey, check out this hashtag, and everyone can go and see how everyone did tonight, or even into tomorrow, or, if you're watching this on video on demand later type of situation. So I'm going to go back to our main screen, and this has given us enough time for this paint to pretty much get to the point of dry that I would like it to be. All right, you can see.
You ever want to blow? Does blowing help, or does that make it terrible?
You can, and you're just going to make yourself very lightheaded, and there's no passing out. You shouldn't pass out when you're painting minis. If you're passing out when you're painting minis, then you're inhaling fumes. No.
Too much wine.
Yeah.
Open a window.
Too much wine, too many fumes, something went drastically wrong. So we have the black red where it needs to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close that cap carefully, mind you, because if you press too hard, sometimes it can like shoot back at you. So I will say just carefully close that cap. And now we're going to move over to heavy red. And I did mention before that there's going to be a point where I'm going to say thin your paints. In this case, I am going to thin my heavy red. I am still going to be using my detail, the multi-purpose brush, not the detail. I'm going to use my multi-purpose brush for this. But in the blister, you have these fun little wells. Okay. So I'm going to take some of my heavy red and put it into a well because I'm going to add some water to it just to thin it out a little bit.
Do you clean off your brush?
You can clean off your brush. You can rinse that off quickly. Also, go ahead.
Just like, I mean, probably because for the people at home, but like, what if you no longer had your blister because you didn't realize it was important and you recycled it?
You recycled it. You can just take a paper plate.
Okay.
Do you have a paper plate you could put it onto quickly?
I have a tray. I mean, not me.
Not you.
I wouldn't have.
We're asking for a friend.
Yeah.
We are absolutely asking for a friend. If for some reason you don't have your blister at hand, I actually always use paper plates for my own palettes just because of how I tend to paint. So yeah, you can totally take a paper plate. If you have even just those fun little plastic palettes you can get at craft stores, those work too. Not a problem at all. So I took some other heavy red, and now I'm just gonna go in to my lovely bit of water. And I'm just going to dip it into the water itself and let the drops sort of flow down the side. And I'm not going to go too crazy. I don't want to put too much in there, so I think that's about 8 drops of water for me. And then you just mix it together. So again, you're getting this to be sort of the consistency, like I said, maple syrup. Or even like a heavy cream. Because what I don't want is for this paint to be super, super thick. Because if it's too thick, because this is going all over the mini itself, it will actually start to not get into all of those little lovely bits of texture that we have. So I don't want it so thick that it's filling it in, but I do want it thin enough so that it can reach those recesses in the sculpt of the miniature. So now I have it nice
strange.
and out.
I can't get any of the water to come off of my brush.
I can't either.
Okay.
I only got one good drop.
Then if you want to, what you can always do is pour some water into the well next to it. And you can, I'll show you.
Kind of slide it
I
over.
see. That's smart.
Put it into the well next to it. And then you can actually take your finger and dip your finger in and do that.
Oh, okay. I was using my brush again. But
You can use your brush, you can use your finger too if you want to.
Is there something wrong with this water?
I don't know. I don't live in Seattle. I don't know if there's something. Is there something wrong with the Seattle water?
West Seattle water. Oh, I just want you to know my son is painting along with us.
I
He's
love
doing the troll.
Nice.
And he's doing a really wonderful job.
Aw, that's most awesome. So what I'm actually going to do is, you can see that my paintbrush got a little loaded up. I'm just actually going to wipe this off on my paper towel because I don't want that up so high. So I just do this really quickly. So it pulls the paint down and you don't have it loaded up very, very high there. And I'm just going to go back in now to my thinned out paint. Now here, kind of think of this as if you were not painting, but if you're using a coloring book. Remember how like when you would color, well, I don't know if you did this. I would do this, shocker. You'd like start by outlining the lines first and then go in and do like the massive amounts of color. Kind of think of approaching it that way. So I'm going to start with the mouth and you can see what I mean. So what I'm going to do is you can see I have some of the heavy red on my brush and I'm going to go in and I'm just going to start getting my lines like I would in a coloring book going around the mouth. Okay. Just like that. To get heavy red going.
All this talk of heavy red made me thirsty.
Oh, geez. Well, by all means, you're welcome to imbibe whatever you would like to imbibe.
Now,
So we don't want to hit where the other red was, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
You don't want to cross over. You want to just edge it so that you have this going on the outer portion of the mouth, not in the mouth itself. It's sort of like if, Greg, have you ever used lip liner before?
Lip liner.
It's like lip liner, but the opposite.
I'm aware of the concept of lip liner.
Okay, so instead of putting it where you would on your lips, you'd actually be working it where it's the flesh tone of the face, not where you would be putting the lipstick, if you will.
Are you going all the way around, like even the bottom of the?
I'm going all the way around, and basically what I'm doing is I am edging so that the paint isn't going into the groove where we put the black red, but it's sort of just on the very edge of it all, if that makes sense, hopefully.
I mean, it's not perfect.
It's not going to be perfect. That's okay.
It's
You are just, if you had it perfect just learning, then I am either A, hell of a good teacher, or you are B, super talented, or C, let's just go with all of the above, because why not?
I'm just going to say,
yeah.
I think it's both.
There you go. So it's basically just sort of hovering the brush so that it's dancing between the two colors. And it's okay if you have a little blending over. That's going to be okay.
It's actually really cute.
Yeah. And it's just getting this heavy red, because this is going to be what's covering the majority of the body.
He's a red Slaad.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm actually not going to worry too much about, you see I'm even going into the eyes area. It's okay.
Should we be going up over his head now?
If you want to, yeah, because this is going over the entire body. So basically, anytime you get to where you've put black red on the body, you want to do the same thing. You're kind of coloring in the line around the outside, just to clean it up a little bit. So it goes from how it looks on the bottom lip to how it looks on the top.
Okay.
Okay.
But so just start painting everything except for where there's black red. Okay.
Yep. So you're basically going to be putting this onto the entire body except for the eyeballs and the claws of the Slaad.
Now, I will say for a creature that is called a red Slaad, there's a lot of different color paints in this kit.
There are a lot of different color paints in this kit because there are a lot of little nuances that also go into, well, if you look at the original, because I use the original artwork for this fellow, and there are surprisingly some other colors that dance through it. There's some purple. You have the green spots and stripes that you can put on if you so choose. I'm going to leave that as an optional for everyone towards the end of this. And the claws are obviously red. You have some detail work where it turns more into this tawny brown that happens. And the eyes as well have a different tone to them. So yeah, it's surprising how many different bits of color can go into painting a miniature.
Now, as for the eyes, do I do his eye, like around his eyelid, and just leave the eye?
You can do it like I did right there.
Part?
Yep, you can do it just like that. Because we're actually going to go in and we're going to put black into the eye area when we get to that step. And you'll see why. It helps create a more sinister look to eye sockets.
Definitely.
Sinister.
Okay.
Oh, this guy's looking good. These are good colors.
Yeah, they're really fun and intense.
Nice. It's really nice paint.
Yeah.
Covers a lot with just a little bit of paint.
Yep. A little will
Good
go
job,
a very
Vallejo.
long way. Yes, Vallejo did a beautiful job.
Oh, the eye is hard.
That's
Guys
okay
have
though.
it.
That's okay though.
Okay. A little smidge more here.
Again, you're just learning how to do this, and oops, it helps to shift back into frame. I'm playing the trying to see what I'm doing around my camera, but also keep it so people can see what I'm doing with my camera. That's
Not
awesome.
easy what you're doing, Vee. So thank you.
It's a little bit of a juggling act, but you know, hey, we'll get there.
For you guys who don't know, she produces and hosts this all at one time, which is not easy.
You know, hey, as long as everyone's having fun, then mission accomplished on my side as far as I'm concerned.
You did it.
Yay!
This is working.
Yay!
Yeah, and look, our guys kind of look the same.
There you go. I mean, as long as they look like they're from the red family, I think we're good.
Yeah.
If you're walking away with one that looks like it's like bright orange, something went wrong.
Good to know.
And then you need to write up a new one, an orange Slaad.
Orange Slaad. Nice.
Yes. They are creepy little critters, though. Not that they're little. I mean, they're not little. They are large. But it's one of those things I was reading up on. I was like, holy moly.
I know, yeah. Their life cycle is, not for the faint of heart.
Literally not. Because it's, okay, so for the red, they're the ones that do the whole, they'll scratch you and you get an egg basically inserted into you, which, gee, thanks. So yeah, if you get scratched and the little egg gets inside of you, you have 3 months or so before the egg turns into a tadpole. And the tadpole, you have 2d12 roll hours before the tadpole basically eats up your innards and pops out and says, "Hi, everyone."
Yeah. Hello, my darling. Hello,
Exactly.
my
Yes. Exactly. That scene completely. I love that you referenced that. So yeah, they're nasty when they do that. This is how you get red Slaad. But then blue is a different story, as is green and as is gray, and death Slaads are very interesting. Or I should say Slaady.
I'm trying to get that under the chin area there. That's
right?
tough.
It is a little tricky. I'm doing it myself. I'm just sort of floating the brush around.
When you say floating the brush around, it just means like...
It means I'm not taking my brush and poking it. I'm letting it float across the surface of the miniature.
Oh, I keep finding myself poking.
And that's totally normal. Yeah, a lot of people, especially if you're used to painting other things like, painting a wall in your house or everything like that, you're used to putting a lot of pressure onto your brush to apply the color. With miniature painting, you actually don't need as much pressure as you would think. So you can actually just sort of float it. And that's also why having slightly thinner paints will help, because it'll move more smoothly over the surface of the miniature.
Yeah, so this technique that I'm doing is just, you said floating, like just moving around and around and around until it gets into the nooks and crannies.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
And who knew this book branding was going to be so powerful? Now that I'm lifting it up, you can now definitely... I'm glad we used this one.
Fantastic. I'm really looking... I haven't had a chance to sit down and read through that one, and I'm so looking forward to it.
There's so many good
things.
It's
a good read.
Yep. That's what I keep hearing. I'm hearing so many good things about it, so I'm super excited. That one and Van Richten's. Van Richten's I have fun. Oh, yes. I actually got to read it ahead of time because Black Dice Society stuff and, the whole domain factor and, like, the different dark gifts and stuff. That's really...
Yeah, I want to get me some of those dark gifts.
So what I'm going to show here is quickly over the pectoral area. I'm basically just taking my brush and letting it glide across the top here. So again, that light touch doesn't have to be perfect. It's just getting a little bit of an overbrush to it.
Are you going over the part we painted with the black?
Yep,
red?
but I am not pushing it down so that the bristles don't go deep into the recesses.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I paint over.
You paint over it very lightly.
Little bikini.
Yep, his little bikini top. It's almost like an Ariel seashell top.
He did not get it waxed.
Nope, that's okay.
Backs and backs.
Yep, this is technically called overbrushing, where you have a little bit more paint loaded onto the brush than you would with something I'm going to explain later called dry brushing.
Okay.
But you're not having it go deep down into the inner details. It's literally just staying more on top of the surface of the miniature.
Right, so you keep those shadows that we created.
Exactly. Yep, you're keeping your shadows. You get a gold star, Greg.
The part under his arm, do you go over that as well?
Yep, you just float it a little bit in there as well. And because this paint is thinned, what's going to happen is even if you go a little bit heavier than you meant to, you're still going to have some shadow play because the other paint will play up and through the other layer of paint, provided you're not going in super thick with your paint color.
Oh, we're getting a little belly. Look at this little tiny.
The tom-tom. And then you can also just have some fun. And when you get to the more open spots, like I am in right now on the arm, just basically get the red onto the body.
Now, do you have like a typical pattern for how you paint? Like you do the head, then you do the torso, then you do the arms.
I am a chaotic painter. It honestly, it depends on the miniature for me, my attack process and how I will start off. There are various schools of thought on how some people prefer to paint their miniatures. There are people who like to paint their miniatures as if, sort of like you thinking about how you would get dressed in the morning. So you start off by getting the flesh areas. So you would get the head, you get the throat, the neck, whatever areas of flesh is exposed is what you would start painting first. Then you would go into whatever layer of fabric is closest to that area where the flesh is. So like the shirts and the pants and everything like that. Then you'd work your way up to the armor and that type of thing. So that is one approach that some people will do. Other people will put one solid color all over the place and then work their way out and put in different colors. So I will always tell people who have come to me to learn how to paint, I will highly encourage everyone to watch what I do, but also go and watch other people. Because everyone has a different comfort level with working with paints and working with a certain art form. And the shame of it would be to tell someone you have to do it like I do it, because by nature, they're not going to do it just like I do it. They're going to find their own groove. They're going to find what works best for them. And that actually goes a lot more smoothly, and you find your pace faster by exploring and seeing what a variety of people will do. So you may find you like how this one painter does this one thing with eyes, but you really like how another painter does detail with armor. And then you start to blend and create your own approach to painting.
Not unlike DMing.
Isn't this true?
Wow, you're so good at.
Look at
Bringing
you.
it back.
It all goes back to D&D.
So his on the back. Are we doing the back? Is that okay?
Yep, you're doing the full body. Yep.
And I know I'm gonna keep asking this, but I should
Oh,
go
it's totally
over
okay.
the black red on the back as well.
Yeah, you're going to have it so it goes
Same.
over the higher portions, and you just keep it out from going into those deeper grooves.
Okay, that's good. I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about.
Yep.
It's really just the mouth part that we had to.
The mouth is the most obvious if you start to get too much of the red paint inside the mouth.
Are you doing the spikes too? Are
Yeah, if you
covering that
get
in
some on the
red?
spice,
yeah.
if you get some on the spice, well, that's a different story. If you get some on the spikes, that's going to be okay because of the color that's going to go on those.
Oh God.
You'll be
Spikes are gonna
okay.
be a different color.
But it's okay. Not to worry. I may be getting to a point I'm going to have to pull this out of frame just so I can simply reach the angle I need to reach. Which I will do sometimes, folks. I'm going to pull the mini out and then I'll show what I do.
I really do hope people are sharing their progress. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm just really would love to see how.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to see how everyone
I
else is
just
doing.
I just added
I
another shot.
saw, yes. What I'm going to do is get this guy painted up as much as possible with red, and then I'm going to hop over and take a look at how others are doing.
I love that there's so many first timers in here.
Me too. I really enjoy getting people into painting minis.
Well, the people I know who do this say it's relaxing, and I've always thought, how could it like all that
It
tiny little
really
brush and all
is.
those little details? But I'm finding myself kind of
Zoning
falling
out.
into this yes.
Yep, the Zen.
And I
The
think
Zen
you
is
talked
real.
about that
yes.
on Dragon Talk.
Yes. And by the way, if you want more information on Dragon Talk, just type an exclamation point Dragon Talk and something's going to pop up for you in the chat.
My goodness, Greg and I are going to pop up in your
Yep.
living room. Hey, I heard you were interested in finding out more about Dragon Talk.
Hey, I wouldn't mind. Come on over for
I
dinner.
wouldn't mind either. It would be super fun. Love to hang out.
So yeah, basically the name of the game at this point is dance the heavy red close to where we've applied the black red. But you're going to get this red over the rest of the miniature, basically. Where there's not claws, leave the claws be, because those are going to go black.
Okay.
But you're getting red pretty much everywhere else.
And it's okay if we hit those spikes.
It's totally okay if you hit the
totally
spikes too, because we're going to do something else with the spikes in just a little bit. And let's see, we are moving into the top of the next hour. It is 10:02. So just a
Oh,
quick
an
little...
hour, really?
Almost,
Are you
yeah.
kidding me?
Yep.
Shoot, this is going real fast.
Yeah, time
You're
flies.
right
when
about it, getting that like kind of Zen thing. You don't even realize that time has passed.
No.
I have lost half to full days sometimes just painting a mini.
Wow.
Like it'll be 4 o'clock and like I'll have a bad habit of I'll get up on the weekend. I'm like, oh, I kind of feel like painting a mini for a little bit. So it'll be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm still in my jammies with my glasses on and everything like that. And, you know, The family's like, what's for dinner? I'm like, what do you mean, what's for dinner?
Huh?
It's your turn.
Kids.
Your turn to make dinner.
And it's like, oh, that thing, because, it's late now.
Yeah,
I'm just going to
that's how
pause
I
here
am
to show.
with Bravo TV.
Oh.
Just gonna watch one episode of Below Deck.
I was going to say, so what sucks you in, Shelly, with Bravo?
Oh, I love the Housewives. I do.
Oh, yeah?
I watch every Housewives franchise. I also really love Below Deck.
Do you have a favorite one of the Housewives?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat New York.
I was going to
For
say.
my faves.
Yeah.
Are you a watcher?
I watched New Jersey Housewives because some of them lived near where I used to live.
Oh my gosh.
So there were people who I knew, people they knew type of thing.
Yeah.
So for me, it was funny to watch and be like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Hold on.
Yep.
So yeah, there was that fun that went into it. And again, don't worry about the
What about-
specs.
Is that House Husbands real?
What?
No, it was like a little spoof that they did on Watch What Happens Live, but it was actually, it's so funny that I feel like they have to continue. I need more.
Wait, there was
Yeah,
the
they're
House Husbands?
Of New Jersey.
The Jersey guys, they did like a fake intro, like the fake taglines that they do.
Up.
But it was absolutely, they were so funny. They were so good.
Oh, funny. I didn't catch that one. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Our
learned
friend
something.
Christina Ariel tweeted it last night, so that's how I knew
Oh,
that.
I'm gonna have to backtrack and see if I can find that tweet then. Because that has piqued my curiosity. Okay.
The sky's getting real red all over
It's
the
like
place now.
getting real sun. It's like the
It's
first
getting
sunny
red,
day
yeah.
in Seattle, and everybody's
Oh my
outside.
God, too funny.
This is what you come back to work looking like on Monday.
This is me when I forget the sunscreen.
Exactly.
This
Wear
is what
your
happens when you don't
sunscreen,
sunscreen.
Lasta.
Yep.
Oh, do we do his hands?
Yes, you do the hands, but you stop. We're gonna give him a manicure later. He gets a mani-pedi in a little bit.
Well,
He
not
does it.
before I do.
So basically
buddy.
up to, oh God, right? So stop where it starts getting to be claw-like.
Okay.
And if you go over a little bit, again, it's still okay.
So, B, do you have, like, when you do minis just, in your spare time,
Mhm.
do you typically try to make them look like how they would look in the world of D&D, or do you take creative freedom and just like wherever?
No, I totally understand what you're saying. In terms of painting minis, I don't go for hyper realistic. What I tend to do is I will go to the original artwork and use that as my point of reference. And look back at the image of the artwork and just sort of build and apply the paint to embody more of that look. So my miniatures actually tend to have more of a sketchbook watercolor-like appearance to them because of that. Like even with this guy, you can see just where the purple's been applied. It's got more of that. And then, hold on. Here. I just painted the Cloud Giant for Jasper's game. So this one definitely has more of that watercolor
Ooh.
effect to it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but I followed the original artwork of this particular figure, which is why it looks more like a watercolor painting as opposed to a hyper-realistic. So that tends to be my technique, my end look for my own miniatures. When I would get commissions, I would tend to do them. I'd ask them what kind of look they want and work around that.
Yeah. I know the people that I know that like to do this, they go for the realism, like the more specific and the more exact detail,
Yep.
the better for them. But
Yeah. I mean, there are people who even do it's almost like they look two-dimensional with the way they've painted a three-dimensional item, and it's really neat. It's almost like comic books, graphic novels type of stuff. It makes for some really gorgeous takes on painting. Things like they'll go in and they'll actually take black and make the lines like you would see in the page of the artwork for the graphic novel or the comic book, that type of thing. So everyone has their own, what they fall into, which again is why I say always check out other artists, because you may find their style is more in line with how you are starting to naturally find your own look.
Now, because this guy's mostly in red, would it have been, what would we have lost if we just were like, let's just dunk this whole thing in red first and then do the detail work?
I was wondering that too, about like, why wasn't he just primed red?
Because it becomes more flat, you lose the nuances of shading. Now, you could do that. It absolutely is another technique. We could have gone in and straight ahead just have done this in the heavy red. And if we had had something called a wash, go in with an umber wash or a brown wash, put it over the entire body, and a wash will go into the recesses, like what we did in the beginning. And it'll start adding shades and tones to the recesses of the sculpture of the mini. So you can take that approach, but this kit did not have a wash setup, which is why I took it from this approach.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
Me too. Because it almost feels like a, watching those power washing videos, but in opposite.
Right?
Instead of taking off the color, we're putting the color on in this really
so
satisfying way.
Uh-huh. Now I'm probably going to have to do some more thinned out red on my part soon.
Shelly, I know you're a power washing fan.
I know I am. I gotta watch some of these. I should have videoed myself doing. We're gonna have a special guest here in a minute. I know. Yep.
Oh.
He's been painting his own.
That's
mini.
fantastic.
He really wants to show it off.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
What? Look at how good he. Wait, you gotta move him. This.
There you go.
way.
Hey, look at you, buddy.
That looks great.
Nice.
Oh my god! I like his gold. Whatever.
Yeah.
That is super cool. I
That's
love that.
wonderful.
It's very shiny.
Yes.
Thank you.
He did a great
Awesome.
job.
You did good. She said you did a great job. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
May I please have some more?
Thank you, Sam. I have
Can
another.
I please have some more compliments?
Yep. Okay, so I'm basically going to go until my red is pretty much gone, and then I'm going to flip over to Twitter and share what people are sharing while you guys keep
Oh,
going.
yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. I gotta do the hands. The hands are a little hard.
Yeah,
I got it.
there's
I'm
some
on
like
his
nooks
legs.
and crannies. Leg day is always fun. Now, the other thing to keep in mind with minis, especially when you're first learning how to paint, there's that 3-foot rule.
What?
Because this is going to go down on a table that's about 3 feet away from you ultimately.
Oh,
So if you
Don't
hold the
worry about
mini away from your face about 3 feet, and you're happy with how it's looking, then you're on the right track.
That's funny because that's how theater detail work is, right? Like people are 50 feet away. It'll be fine.
It's enough.
You're right. Don't
It's
worry about it. You're spending
good
too much
enough.
time on making that color look perfect.
Exactly.
No one will ever see.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're going in and you're entering competitions, then don't follow that rule. But when you're just getting started, I always like to remind people it's going to be on a table about 3 feet away from everyone. Now, granted, you might have that one person who's like, let me take a closer look,
Yeah,
but still,
I was always that person.
yeah, me too. But hey, and I will always say, especially to people who are just getting into it, if you want to share your work and if it's one of those things you really genuinely want to get feedback on it, whenever you share on socials, I have found in the mini painting community, if you say, thoughts or critiques appreciated, that's a great way to get some tips on what to do for next time around if you'd like. But I personally, as a mini painter, when I see people who are just getting started and just starting to share their work, I will always try and find something that they have done, keep it in frame, that they have done well. Because it helps them build confidence in what they're doing.
yeah.
To me,
That's
that's
good
far
about-
more important.
That's really good about everything.
Yeah.
Really.
I know.
Giving feedback to anything creative.
I always try and be like, first of all, I love how you did this particular color for the cape.
Mm.
And then
wait
I'll
to
always
hear.
ask them, like, would you like anything else? Do you want me to give you any more feedback or anything like that? Let me know, and I'd be happy to move it into a DM for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's very nice of you.
that's the educator in me.
I was actually just thinking, I bet you were such a good teacher.
I tried for my kids.
Now, how old were the kids you taught again?
High school.
High school.
Yeah. Quite frankly, my favorite age in high school were sophomores. And I don't know, that was just my jam, that age level. I loved sophomore year kids because they sort of lost the newness of freshmen
Yeah.
that freshmen also have or often have, but there's still that little bit of ingenue left to them, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that's fun. All right, so I'm going to quickly refresh my feed and let's take a oh, we're getting some progress. Shelly, you came up right again as well. So
Oh, that was a long time ago.
I know, but you had the right idea, totally. And ooh, Nora's looking great with hers.
Oh, I bet Nora's is really good.
Yeah. And here's Greg,
Awesome.
looking good.
Yeah. Now I gotta do another one because he's real colored in already.
All right, so again, if you want to share your progress with us, hop on over and type in hashtag WK Paint Party and post it on your socials, and we're going to take a look at what people are sharing. We'll even take a look at the end. So let me go back to the main feed, and I definitely need some more red. Ooh, I almost
Me
picked
too.
up the one who
Good.
is-
I'm so glad you said that. I was
Yep.
getting worried that I overdid it or something.
Nope. Little. It's honestly better to go like a little bit and then add in some more, because if you go in too much in the beginning, you're pretty much just wasting paint that way. So again, I'm just gonna go in here, and then I'm just gonna shift some of the do this way.
Oh, his butt's not quite covered.
What
Cover
with the
that
butt?
Cover your butt.
Doing the butt.
Gonna lose your butt.
The definition. Get those squats. And I would like to thank our friends over at Idle Champions. If you haven't noticed it yet, we do have a code for an Electrum Chest code. So if you play and you enjoy, then by all means type in !code and you will see that code pop up for you. That will be good for checking out this stream with us. And I believe this one is good for the month until we go into the next paint night event, because yes, we're planning on doing more of these as well. But I want to make sure we mention that one too. And
Nice.
Nice.
yep.
Love
Very
everybody over
generous.
there.
Oh my gosh, such a great community.
They're very
Really.
generous.
Mm-hmm. Oops. And I just gave him a manicure. I didn't mean to, because I was brushing, looking at screen and not actual mini. Hee hee.
Multitasking.
Multitasking. Whoops. See, mistakes happen and it's okay. We're gonna Bob Ross that one.
It's a
Happy
little
Happy
claw.
happy little claw.
I assume he's getting a pedicure too, so I should not be
Yes.
doing. Okay.
Yes. He's getting the full mani pedi
So lucky.
treatment.
So
Right?
jealous.
Ugh,
I guess Shelly and I are both like, I want to get my nails done.
so bad. I just realized I probably should have painted mine before
Yeah,
this,
no,
but
it's fine.
Before all this
actually,
detail.
before all of this close up on my hands.
kid
Oh,
you
well.
not, nail polish does not stay on my nails at all. But I have taken miniature paint and like painted a nail, and dang, if that doesn't stay on a whole week for me sometimes.
Well, there you go. That's the
so I'm like,
secret.
I'm just gonna paint my
That'll
nails with my
work.
miniature paints.
I painted my son's nails,
Oh, yeah?
and it was like 2 weeks ago, and they're still perfect.
Oh my gosh.
What? Why
How?
why does it stay on your hands? Probably because he's gross and doesn't wash.
Oh jeez. We'll think of a different reason. He has very good nail beds for it.
Let's go with that.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
We know he doesn't, do a lot of manual labor.
Absolutely.
My girls do this thing where they they'll have them and they'll be so happy that they've got their nails done, and then like 2 days later they're already scratching it off.
That's me.
It's
Yeah?
kind of fun
Well,
to peel off.
Is that what it is?
There's that, but there's also for me, the second a nick or a chip happens, I'm just like, it's done. It's over. Nope. No more. Be gone.
That's the artist in you.
It is. It really is. Okay, I have to pull this out of frame because there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to get into this hand with the camera in the way. So all I'm doing right now, folks, is basically just taking the brush and I'm working it onto the palm of the one hand. And I am getting some red on the claws, but I know I can get to the claws more easily with the black than I can get to the red and try and stay neat. So just FYI there, everyone. Let's get at the other side of the arm. I'm having tricks getting to because of angles while I'm at it.
Hey, I think I got it everywhere. Let me look up it.
Oops, I gotta do the
elbow.
fingers.
Gotta do the elbow.
The elbows, yeah. And that's
I
the other
love-
thing is as you're getting this applied and as it dries, especially when you're doing like a major sweep color, sometimes as it dries, you can go back and rotate the miniature around and you might find little points where you've like missed a spot. So that's where you can go back in and quickly touch up those areas and just add a little bit more red into like where you might see like a little white spot standing out.
Yeah. I'm noticing that.
Yeah.
I love how fast it dries though. That's
Oh,
really...
it dries, yeah, nice and quick, which is great. I think I got pretty much everything I wanted to for that particular hand.
You know, I wasn't entirely sure how the shadow part was going to work, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm kind of seeing it now.
Yep, it plays through.
Good.
And the other
Yeah,
thing is that if you wanted to, after the fact, if you want to get a wash and put a wash on this, which is what I was talking about before, you could do a wash at the end. I would go with an umber wash or a brown wash rather than go for a black wash because the brown will play more nicely with the red and you'll keep those warmer tones going.
Is that why yours looks so shiny?
Mm-mm.
Is that a wash? Oh.
Nope. Nope, I did not do a wash on this particular... You mean the before mini that I had painted up ahead of time?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't do a wash. I purposely kept that one wash free.
Oh, cool. It looks good.
The shine actually might be because I did seal it,
Oh.
just to protect the paint. And I like to use a certain kind of sealer because, at least during the colder months, it's a pump spray action as opposed to a aerosol seal coat. So that might be what you're picking up on. It does have like a slightly shiny look to it.
I like it. Looks good.
Yeah, I kind of like my minis to have like a little bit of a satin finish. I don't go full matte. That's some people like ultra matte for their mini seals.
Oh, I just realized I got to do the inside of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
That was the hard part.
Hard.
Yeah, that's the part that can get a little tricky.
And it's okay if you go
Gotta do the
pokey in that way,
finger.
right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're gonna need to go pokey in the hand. Wait.
In
take to that.
your own hand. Don't do it in someone else's hand.
Yes. See, my friends are probably cracking up right now because I have a very bad habit of doing that, where I will say something and I realize what I've said, and it's just like, wait, that's not what I
Wait.
meant.
Hold on. Strike that from the record.
Problem is when you do it on a game stream and people get clips of it on Twitch.
Oh no.
Yep, the chat's jumping on that one. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so
Yes.
I'm gonna try and show this off to the camera.
Okay, cool.
How does that look? You can't. Oh, you know,
Oh,
it's
it's great.
It's looking good though.
my eternal problem of not being able to focus on minis with the equipment that I have.
Do you have
One
auto?
day-
Do you have autofocus on your camera?
I think I do, but it's an old one. So.
Okay, because I was going to say, the thing is with autofocus, it's going to by nature shoot to your face as opposed to what's in front of it. So you have
I
to try
know.
and hide your face.
I've done that before. Like try to duck underneath it. So
Yep.
I'll be like, nope, stop focusing on me.
That's why like beauty influencers always do like this thing. They'll
Yeah,
block their
it's-
face out. So that's what
And,
that's about.
Sweet.
But it's looking good. I'm going to have to pull this guy out of the frame again just because the hands are tricky. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it really is.
Getting into those little nooks and crannies. But yes, you can use a more poking technique when you get into the palm of the hand, is what she meant to say the first time around, folks.
Ooh, the guru trick.
What?
Says CJ.
Is this CJ?
Yeah, what's the guru trick?
What is the guru trick? I am not
Hand
sure.
behind. Maybe he's...
Oh, guru trick. I guess like from what I was, the tip. Is that what we mean? Like put your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
I guess that's what they're talking about.
hand behind the fig. Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
Do it like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Basically, you want
every
to
time-
hide your face. Focus on the mini, not on the face. Every time
Not
what?
in the face, not in the face.
Okay. What was that, Shelly?
Every time I think I've got it, I find
There's a
another
little bit more,
big
yep.
patch that I
Yep.
haven't done yet.
Yep, I'm in the same boot, doing the same thing. It's also when you're chatting.
Yeah.
You know, that whole talking and painting thing, it's like walking and chewing gum at the same time.
Easier
Takes a little
for some of
practice.
us.
Yes. Takes a little practice there. But really, this is the part that's going to take the most time, quite frankly. Did I not get underneath the thigh there? I guess I did not. Got to make sure I get the undercarriage.
Yep. Can't forget. Oh, how do you get this? The inside of the thumb. That's
Yeah, that's where you're definitely gonna. Yeah, I
okay.
think it's a little bit more nuanced.
It's really cute.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
like it.
Good.
I am pleased so far.
I am pleased to hear you are pleased. Because I remember you were sharing on our Dragon Talk chat that it was the Boys and Girls Club
Kindergarten.
kindergartner with
Yeah,
an
I was
opinion.
the big sister to a kindergartner.
And they had opinions.
Didn't like the dog I drew, and
It ruined you for
that was
life.
it for art for me.
Oh. Well, hopefully this will help make up for that.
If I could find that kid now,
There you go.
I'll
Just
be a really famous art critic somewhere.
wouldn't that be funny?
That's hilarious.
Everyone's a critic. But you can totally do a look at me now. Look at me now, I'm painting a mini
On a live stream.
on a live stream with people watching. No, I'm kidding. No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure now.
I feel like we're all doing this together. It's cool.
Yes. Oh, good, good, good. That's honestly like I miss
Moral
that
support.
part of conventions is getting to paint with a whole bunch of people.
Ooh, Goblin Katie's is looking real good so far too.
Ooh, you looking?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna get the rest of my red on and then I'm gonna hop back over. So we'll call this like the 5-minute warning, I guess. If you want to share what you're doing along with us, make sure you post on your socials with hashtag WK Paint Party. And in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna hop back over because we do want to make sure this red dries a little bit. I'm gonna hop back over to looking at the Twitter feed and seeing what is coming up under that hashtag. So you have been warned, students. No, I'm kidding. Pop quiz, yo!
That was your teacher voice there.
Oh
Yeah.
God, there's a few varieties of teacher voice too. I found out. There's the "Hi kids, let's get going in the morning" voice, and then there's the "Yeah, so I can tell no one studied for this test."
Aw. Yeah.
It's like, let's take those textbooks out and we're gonna look at chapter 7 again. No, I'm kidding. And if I've gone past teacher voice into mom voice, it's too late.
Ah,
I kid. So is your little guy still painting, Shelly, or is he all done?
I think he's still going.
He's still going? Oh, that's fantastic.
I can't believe that he's done that much.
That's wonderful. All right, so I'm getting around the tootsies now on the 1 foot. Again, keeping it pretty much completely off of where the black is going to go for the claw. The claw.
You're scared of the claw.
The claw. And talking to yourself while you're painting a mini is totally normal too, by the way.
And I'm getting a sense also that I have like a mini painting face that's like
There is. Oh, there absolutely is. Like, there were so many faces I had to like watch myself and unlearn when I started doing streams. But I'll still jump into it.
you do that as well when you're putting on mascara or like like eye makeup.
Surprisingly, I
A
don't.
lot of people
A lot of people do make like it's
they can't keep their mouth shut.
that
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
I don't, but I also have worn contact lenses for so long. I'm used to having things
Oh, that's true. Me too.
that get close to the face without wincing. So I'm able to do it without the extreme expression.
I do not have that skill. Anything that goes near my eyes, I'm like, nope.
Nope.
Sorry. That's a big nope.
Like I'll like touch my eyeball to shift a contact lens, and people freak out.
Oh, yeah. I
Oh
always
my
have
God.
my fingers in my eyeballs.
Yeah,
Like,
I honestly like. I just do it as almost second nature, which is not the best thing sometimes. But yeah, it's because I have an astigmatism, so if my contacts float, like the world gets very weird looking. So I'll be like, wait, I gotta fix my lens really quick.
Hold on, let me just do my body modifications.
Right.
Oh, everything's good.
Ta-da!
oops, forgot his knee.
Yep, don't forget the knee. All right, and we are at the quarter after.
Ah,
Are we doing all right? Are we?
We're
making good time here?
we're making excellent time. If we get this guy finished up with the full red treatment by the half hour, we can then go and do the other thing. So we are probably looking at about 2.5 hours for this total.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that we'll be done around 8:30 Eastern, which would then be
Sweet.
5:30 Pacific.
I'm gonna do a picture of him.
Awesome.
do it.
Do it up.
I missed a couple of fingers.
See, when it starts to dry, you start to see.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
also
also can't-
getting, yeah,
I can't tell if that's the claw or finger at this point.
that's okay. You're also sort of getting like a sort of a speed paint factor to this because we're under a clock as opposed to, if you were just sitting at home and had some time. Yeah, I'm going to be pulling this
Exactly.
out of frame. Sorry, everyone, this has to go out of frame. I'm realizing I'm already doing it on camera, so let me just quickly, more efficiently,
You got it.
yeah,
Rocking it.
get these quick little spots of the shin and the toes.
You mentioned voices, so do you do the voice of the character that you're painting when you're doing it?
I have never been asked that before. No, I don't think I ever have come up with voice as I'm painting the character, but ooh, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I'm a
Yeah.
Slaad, I'm going to attack you. I don't know.
What would
I don't know what Slaad
sounds like? I was just thinking, like, what would a Slaad sound like? Ooh.
Pretty
Not like that.
squelchy. I feel
Yeah.
like Jabba the Hutt type of
Yeah, something like, almost like, I don't want to say mucusy, but you know what I mean? Like, just like that thickness
Yeah.
in the voice.
thing. Yeah.
You know, he kind of looks like the Mucinex guy, so maybe that's why you
Maybe that's why. You're not wrong.
went with the mucusy
Yeah,
thing.
maybe. All right, so like,
I'm gonna
sit right
say-
there.
The Mucinex guy is like the Slaads, so we should be
So there you go. Hey,
talking to
Mucinex.
them.
Hey, Mucinex. We need to have a
Mucinex
conversation.
partnership. Come on.
There's something going on there. So I'm just quickly doing a quick spin around, and I'm looking at little spots I'm noticing. Just some little white dots poking through.
Yeah.
But,
Get that brush out of my
that
butt.
sunlight
Get the brush out of my
happening.
way. Yes,
Making
but
it
this
harder.
shows you just sort of about where you want it to be at this phase. Get it in the... So I'm just going to let this dry now. And I'm going to hop over to socials, just like I said. You got 5 minutes, and it has been 5 minutes. I'm also going to do a quick rinse on my brush now that I know that I'm done with heavy red. This is going to be the end of heavy red. I like how people are like, we have Zerjester saying, my Slaad is from
Yes.
Jersey. He's got a very, hey, come at me, bro, stance.
Well, yep, that's it for me now.
Yep.
Yep.
Can't unhear that.
There we go. They have the very, determined and
Oh my
that
god.
little, the oh my gods and the gotta have their gold link chains
With
and
the
everything
red
like that.
spot.
Although quite frankly, those are really more the Long Island types, but hey,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Similar.
Okay, let me see here. All right, it looks like we have some new people sharing, so let's go over to submissions check. What looks like Nora's video from ahead of time where she's matching her nails popped in, but we have Todd playing along at home.
Oh,
Todd Kenrick's playing along.
Hi, Todd.
Oh, look at the
Hi,
grin.
Todd.
Yours looks like it's
Nice.
smiling.
And then we still have, here we have, hey, that's looking good too.
Oh.
That's so good.
Nice. That's
A
Sir Jester.
professional Setup.
Yeah, well, it is a professional painter. There's a little
That's that's
it,
our
yeah.
Jersey Slaad right there.
That's the Jersey Slaad reference right there.
Hey,
This is-
looking
hey,
good,
looking
bro.
good, brother.
Hey.
That's
Bada
very
bing.
bada bing, bada boom. Oh, and then we are live now, and here's Nora's progress shot.
Liking
Ooh.
that.
Me too.
Oh yeah, she did really good around
Yeah.
that eye.
Yeah,
Mine's
definitely. Well, that's okay. We still have some more fun to have with the eyes.
yeah.
And there is your saying you're getting ready. That one's from a while. Oh, here we go. Here's Goblin Katie sharing with the brush. I
I
like
know, I
that.
love
Oh,
that.
This could
cute.
actually
I
be a
love
brush
that, too.
holder. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun idea. I'm not
Oh
getting
my
ideas at
gosh.
all. That's fantastic. Let's see what else we have here. We have Jessa Blackthorn from WizKids sharing. Oh, Shelly, here we go.
Yep, there's my progress.
Nice.
I like
And
that. It
then
looks like
it's
you're
cropped just a little bit odd because of the how I
Oh,
had it set up. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
It looks like you're painting on a keg.
I am. I wish.
Happy
Hold
Friday.
on. Let me.
It's like a tavern floor kind of.
Let
Yeah.
me just move things around a little
Very
bit.
thematic.
Oh, it's not
Yeah.
going to let me. Okay, so
Well,
opening up the photos. But there we go. There we go.
then you-
See? And then, hold on. Go back. So there's Shelly again. And let me just, before I move the window around again, kisses from Goblin Katie again. And I think we're back to, oh, here we go. Red Boy. This is fun. And here is Greg from earlier.
Where it all started.
Yep.
Aw.
Oh, this is fun to see. So definitely when we're all done, folks, we have to go onto socials and we have to look at this hashtag and see what people have done. Because there's some really neat progress shots happening here. And I love that you're all sharing. So yeah, keep them coming. Keep sharing because there is fun to be had. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next phase and we're still going to be working with red. And this time we're actually going to move over to the vermilion red. Vermilion red, darlings. And that's in the other line of paints, hence the the plastic sounds that are happening. Now, in this case, you do want to make sure you have your brush rinsed. And I actually took my multi-purpose brush and I dried it off after rinsing.
God.
And you are going to want to have some paper towel nearby because we're going to get into that whole dry brushing thing that I had talked about before.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay,
What's the matter?
another question,
Mm-hmm.
like a hypothetical. What if you use the wrong red this entire time?
If you use the wrong red this entire time,
Yes.
then what you can do is take a little bit of the vermilion and put it into one of your paint wells here. All right.
Okay.
So put it into an empty paint well, put a good amount in there, and then go over to light flesh, and you'll add just a little touch of light flesh into your vermilion to drop to make the color a little bit lighter than it was before.
Okay.
So you can absolutely do that if you need to.
I need to.
Okay. And that is totally okay.
Ellie.
That's
I think it's good that I'm making these mistakes
just it, you're
because
learning.
then people can learn what to do if should they ever.
exactly. So let me explain as you're getting yourself mixed up there. No pun intended, like literally you're mixing things up.
Definitely.
So dry brushing is basically where you're going to put a little bit of paint directly onto your brush. And again, you're not dipping it in full throttle very deep into your paint pot. Like there's just this much on there. Okay? Just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm just going to brush it back and forth across my paper towel until it starts to do this little streaky thing that's happening right there.
Okay.
And you can actually see that it starts to go across the top of the surface and add color without it going into the textured grooves. So you're actually taking a brush that is almost dry of paint and applying what little bit of pigment is left on the tip of the brush. That's what dry brushing is. Normally I will go for, especially with beginners, I would actually go for a flat brush as opposed to a round brush, but it's still possible to do with a round brush. You just have to make sure you're being more careful about how loaded up your brush is. If you go in with a round brush that is very loaded, you'll basically be doing what we had just done with the other color. So you want to make sure it's not as heavily loaded up.
Is this your multi-purpose brush?
Yep,
again,
multi-purpose
did you
brush.
say?
Yep, multi-purpose brush.
Okay.
So then what I'm going to do is, taking that vermilion, I'm going to go back onto my mini and I'm going to dry brush the vermilion onto the surface. And remember how I said you float it across?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, you're going to float it across so that it's picking up just those upper portions of texture that are on the miniature. And a little bit at a time is better than trying to do too much at a time when it comes to dry brushing. It's better to go back over the same area a couple times than to try and get it all done at the same time. And I'm basically keeping it almost so that the brush is running parallel, if you will, to the surface of the mini, so that it's, let me see if I can get an angle to show you, so it's sitting more like this across the miniature as opposed to approaching it at a 45-degree angle like most people tend to do when they're painting. So you're keeping it so that it floats across the top surface, and this is going to add a very subtle change in color by lifting the tone up a little bit. You can see here more of this texture is now popping out because I'm going with vermilion with this dry brush.
I feel like I'm getting all the paint off when I do it on the
Okay, so if you're doing
towel.
if you're doing it on the paper towel, and the second you see the first streak come up like streaky and not a solid color, that's when you can start doing the dry brushing with it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Oops. And if you ever still have too much on one side of your brush, like I just did, you can do a quick little blot with your fingertip to remove excess paint if you, for some reason, have too much loaded on top of your brush.
Now, are we doing this all over the guy?
You're doing it all over where the red is.
Okay.
And it's just going to start bringing out the texture to the body. And if it's something where you're not comfortable doing it or you don't like how it's looking for yourself personally, you can omit this step if you so choose. And instead you could fast forward and hop on to basically taking black and painting black onto the claws.
Oh.
So if you decide you don't want to do this step, for those of you playing the home game, or even if you, Greg or Shelly, want to do that, you can just hop over to doing the manicure part. But I'm just going to go through and get this for most too much. So if you have too much, you can take your fingertip and just kind of do a quick blot, and it'll pull some of the excess paint off the figure with your fingertip.
So these are highlights.
Basically, yeah. You're giving it highlights.
My favorite magazine.
That was a good one.
Still is.
It is.
Get
It really
Hidden
is.
Pictures. We're big fans of Hidden Pictures. Okay. When you do the nails, what brush would you use for that?
That one I would just flip over to the fine detail one.
Okay.
Because it'll make it easier for you as you get close to where it's sort of edged around the skin. You can use the fine detail brush a little bit more easily. So yeah, I'm just going to go through, and I'm basically working across the texture of the miniature. Just to bring out those higher points of detail on the mini.
Every time I hear the word vermilion, I think of the Vermilion Minotaur from
Funny.
From Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Uh-huh. Yeah, some of the paint colors are always fun. Like there are, oops, I just overdid it. I just overdid it
too.
There is gory red as a color, which it is an intense red. I did a Cthulhu mini using it, and it looked like I had flayed Cthulhu because I started off with this gory red color as its base color. It was an interesting take. It was a rather disturbing stream until we started getting other colors on top. But yeah. And then, let's see. There's, well, in this set alone, there's Hex Lichen. Which is a fun, it's just fun to say Hexed Lichen.
Oh yeah, I was wondering how to pronounce that one.
Yep.
Lichen.
Yep. So I'm just basically going through, and probably for the next 5 minutes I'm going to dry brush vermilion onto it. Just getting those different areas to highlight all the texture that's happening here.
Okay, now it's coming together.
Mm-hmm. You'll find like you'll build up on it as you go along.
Yeah. I think I still got a couple of areas where I got too much, but
that's okay. You're just learning how to do it too, and that is quite common. I tend to overload sometimes when I'm teaching how to do it just because I'm distracted. But
makes sense.
Yep.
The problem is I feel like I'm always taking off too much when I'm doing it.
Yeah, and you'll find yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then nothing happens when I put it on the figure, and then I put too much on the next time.
Right.
And, yeah.
You'll find the right balance the more you do it. In terms of, yes, this is the load I want to have on my brush to get the result I want first go around. But like here, I'm purposely pulling it bottom up to work across the details of the pectorals to really bring that out more. And you can see it's a subtle difference, especially on the camera itself, but in real life, it's popping out the texture of the skin more.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm doing this right, but
someone's saying, "Oh my God, Vee, what did I do now?" I'm getting yelled at in the chat.
Why?
I don't know. Someone said, "Oh my God, Vee, did I say something that didn't sound good?" Sorry. Sorry about that. Apologies. It was not intentional.
What was it?
You'll never know. I'll never share my secrets. Ever. And again.
This paper. I should say, if anybody sees this paper towel, they're gonna be like, "What was going on in that house?"
Well, that's the problem. Like, I actually will use my wrist sometimes. Like, I'll do this to check a brush, because then I can see.
And then you're like,
then it can
in
be
the grocery store.
Really, well, that's the problem. Like, I'll run out and I forget I did something, and I'll like people look at me kind of funny. I'm like, it's just paint. It's just paint. I'm fine.
I'm an artiste.
Yes. Yeah, well, going back to that Cthulhu mini, that was the one where it was a very interesting looking hand and thumb paint treatment I had going on. All right, so I'm just getting this around the feet.
The feet.
The feet, the tootsies. The tootsies. These slaads are living the dream. Or the slaaddy is the proper plural for slaad.
I know, it's so hard to remember that, though.
Right? The slaaddy. Listen, slutty. Alright, let me.
You're painting? Oh, you're painting it?
They can hear you just as an
Oh.
You know what? I was literally just going to say, I can't believe your girls haven't come into this.
Oh, there you go.
There
And
Thinking
there
you
they
shall
are.
receive.
they are.
I conjured them.
Mm-hmm. Behold the power of Shelly. Alright, so I'm just going to go around and do a little... Well, I mean, I do have a beholder behind me.
I'm thinking of a beholder.
You want a
You
behold?
just created one.
Do you want a zombie or do you want a live one? I mean, I got this guy right here. I want that one.
Whoa, look at that one.
This was inspired by a tree frog.
That is so cool.
Yeah. This was like,
That
this
is
was
beautiful.
Origins.
It looks like a
Must have
cupcake
Origins.
almost.
Hey, sweetie. Ooh, I just kicked my table. And this is the zombie. This is using
Ooh,
this is the
nice.
sketchbook style that I like to do paint-wise.
That is cool.
So that's another one. So yeah, I had a couple of beholders behind me. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
See, it worked again.
Yep.
Conjured.
That is a good question. Who is painting with family? Chat, if this is a family event, then please be sure to share everyone's minis when you go and post, because that's always fun to see. This is the other bad habit I get into when I'm dry brushing. I'm like, I'll just do a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just to stop it.
That's your favorite part? Dry brushing?
I do like it because how it just like slowly builds up and you bring out more and more of the detail work.
Dad.
I could get lost in a couple of hours of just doing this because I also like to do such a gradual build. at a time. Yeah, it's sort of showing it off more. Here we go. This is where it's starting to make a difference. You can sort of, now you can see the texture playing out more on the skin in comparison.
Does work.
Yeah.
My worry is that I'm getting into the crevices, which I'm like, no, don't go down.
Yeah. Well, luckily
And
it's
that's hard.
dark enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to call this a day on my vermilion because I'm happy because I can see the fun texture playing out now. Like on the tummy, you see more of that detail. And under the chin, you can see more of that coming
Oh,
through.
you really can. You really
Yeah,
can.
it really does make a difference. Even though it's just a subtle shift in the color of the paint, it really does shift things up more. You can, especially like through here, you can see all of that happening.
I wonder what mine would have looked like if I used the right color.
What's happening with it now? Is it just...
Did
I
you
moved
did
on to-
vermilion for the base?
Yeah.
I did.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Well,
know
then
why.
what you could
I
always do-
opened the other one.
What you can always do is, I can send you a link to a good wash, and you could do a wash treatment, and then you'll be
I
good.
might.
There you go. We do have Patricia is painting with her family, her son.
Oh, nice.
You and you're both new to.
Aw.
That's awesome. New at painting.
the coolest.
I love that.
It's a family affair.
It is. That's wonderful. It really is wonderful. All right, so now I'm going to shift over to the detail brush, and I'm going to go back to black. Back in black.
Ba-da-da,
There you go.
ba-da-da.
Okay, we better stop because, ding!
We get, yeah, I know, right?
You might get a little ding. Okay, so moving over to black detail. Fine detail brush. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put black on the claws, and I'm actually going to also put black on the eyeball.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the eyes, so you can see what I'm doing with the eyes. And again, just a little bit on the tip of your brush. You don't need a whole bunch. Actually, that's more of a bunch than I wanted, so I'm just going to take a little bit off on my paper towel. And I'm just going to go in and very carefully put some black into the eyeball area. And it's actually okay if you have it go over and onto the lids a little bit, because this is what gives it that really menacing look to its stare when you base it with a little bit of black. So just like that. And I did get a little bit of black over where I didn't want it because I looked up into the camera and my brush kept going. That happens.
Oh, well, now I got black finger.
Yep.
Yep.
As opposed to Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Wow. Another Bond
Yeah, look at us.
reference.
So that's the one eye, and I'm going to do the other eye.
You know, for something so small like an eyeball, you can really change the entire personality of
You
your
really
slot.
can. Yeah, like right now
mine
I
is
just...
now like, hey.
I inadvertently just did a pupil. Force of habit. But that is a good point, because one eye looks almost humanoid-like because that little dot of the pupil, and the other one has that more monster-esque look because it's got that black going all over it.
Sleep with one eye open.
Holding your pillow. Or is it clutching your pillow tight? I always forget that one. Isn't it clutching?
It's
I think it's clutching.
Yeah. What did we do before Google search and lyrics?
Oh.
That's why I loved the cassettes that would come with the
Right?
lyrics
You would
in
buy a
the
cassette
thing.
tape,
God,
then
and you'd
you
like
would
read through
all
that
the lyrics.
pamphlet. Yes.
I know.
Yeah, so that same person who asked what a newspaper is can also look up what a cassette tape is.
It's a web page that you print out.
Yep. Pretty much.
That was
Okay.
my favorite.
So I've got a little bit of black in there.
Got a big black
And now I'm
splotch
gonna
on
do-
the hand.
That's what I did too.
It happens.
Dun,
Now we're gonna do.
dun, dun, dun.
Now, because his claws are so big, this is where I feel like I am giving a friend like a manicure. Like, okay, honey, so tell me, how was your day today?
Are you still with the doctor?
Yeah, what do they have to say about that one? Oh, I don't know. You might want to get that looked at. I got a really good podiatrist.
The
You gotta trim your
bunions.
nails.
The bunions, Dolores. That's all.
You need to get a better pair of shoes, something with more support to them. It helps if you get some insets going.
You know what's so funny is that my wife and I have been going to the same podiatrist office. His and her podiatrist. It's so
You
funny.
have a podiatrist?
Yeah.
I might need one.
Oh, God, I love it.
It's amazing. We
That
are
is
old.
amazing.
The reference.
Right? That
A
reference is
referral.
relevant.
I need a
Yeah.
referral.
I can refer you. It's right by West Seattle. Right by
There
you.
you go.
All right.
Ooh, these are terrifyingly looking.
The claws?
The claws.
Yeah, the claws.
You're scared of the claw.
I'm trying to do this so I can see it, but also keep it in the camera. But with the curvature, I'm like, this is an adventure.
I know, right? Me too. With the book, I'm like, oh, I just realized I had the book in front of my face with the miniature.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, pull it down a little bit. Apologies.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Same thing with the eyes. As soon as you get these claws black, it totally changes the character.
It does.
Yes, it does.
It's like, ooh, this is not something I want to tango with later.
I don't know. Mine, it sort of looks friendly.
It might be
Because
because
of
it's
the
a
way
slightly lighter tone now.
You use the other color.
He's like the color of a raw steak.
That still sounds rather intimidating.
Yeah, it does. But his eyes are just kind of like more
Mm.
friendly.
Well, I
I
mean,
just mistakenly dragged my brush across the body
uh-huh.
that had black on it, and now I'm like, maybe he's got a scar.
Ooh.
Now we're creating some backstory.
Yes, I like that. Have either of you ever used a Slaad or Slotty in a campaign? Or played
I haven't
played
I've
against
been a
them?
dungeon master.
Fought them.
I don't
No.
think I've ever even played again. Maybe.
Maybe.
It wasn't memorable, I guess. I don't remember, but I kind of have an association with somebody I know who was a dungeon master for me and a Slaad. So
Interesting.
I feel
Okay.
like he must have brought one out. It was probably before I knew what one
So
was.
interesting.
Actually, I take that back. I did have a memorable fight against a green Slaad
Okay.
Ooh.
back in the 3.5 era.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That
they
was-
were terrifying.
I mean, they're interesting creatures, that's for sure. That and they were like the
Yeah.
creation of a fevered dream when it originally was made.
Yep.
Guy was sick, had a dream, and out these came.
What a great nightmare fuel type of monster.
Right? Well, I mean, it makes sense. Sometimes you get really sick and you have those dreams that seem almost hyper realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, just going through and putting black on the claws. I am so going to pull this out of frame soon because there is no way I can get to the inside areas
Yeah, that's
with the camera between me and there.
so I realize now with the black next to like this sort of salmony color that my Slaad is.
Uh-huh.
I know Christy's watching us and she'll appreciate this, but I think I've painted him like the color of a flamingo.
Oh.
Yes.
I
So
kind of
maybe
like that,
I've
though.
done that. Yeah.
Kind of
It's
like
a
that,
flamingo
though.
Slaad.
That flamingo has eaten a lot of shrimp.
Yes.
It's true.
So, Christy, if you're still watching, I think I did this for us, for our little coven.
There you go.
There's no wrong way.
No. And that's just it. I mean,
Get some stats for a salmon Slaad.
a salmon slab. A slammin'.
Slammin' salmon Slaad.
Slammin' salmon.
One of my favorite salads.
Slammin'
Slammin'
salmon, the
salmon.
flamingo Slaad. Oh, now we're getting some tongue twisters.
I gotta tell you, trying to type out Slaad on my phone for the past however many weeks, we have been having fights, my phone and I, because it
Yeah.
keeps
Just get
flipping
it
over to
eventually.
salad. Like, I'm not talking about what. First of all, what is a red salad? I'd get green. I would totally get green if it's like, no, you mean a green salad. I'm like, no, I actually mean a red Slaad.
Yep. The amount of ducking I've been doing in my text.
Don't you just hate that?
I know. It's like, who would ever...
Nobody.
We have a brilliant AI that does so much stuff,
Right.
predictive text, but you think that's what we're trying to say all the time?
Right? People like their ducks. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of, someone in the chat said, they're chaotic creatures anyways, which is very true.
That's true.
If you notice, when you're going to paint this, you have 4 toes, 3 toes, just in case anyone's keeping count.
What?
This,
Oh, yeah.
It only has 3 toes on 1 foot.
What the?
Yep.
What's that all about?
Well, if you look at the original artwork, yeah, it also only had 3 toes on the 1 foot. Because I went back to look, I'm like, what is going on here?
Chaos.
Chaos. Chaos at its finest.
Oh, brush down again.
Uh-oh.
Oop.
I'm surprised I haven't done that yet, because I have a habit of doing that. Like, I'll just, hold the brush either too lightly or too hard, and it goes flying on me. All right. So there we have the black toes with the claws. Except I'm seeing... Okay,
I
this
forgot to
is
do their
where I'm
feet.
playing. Yeah, don't forget the feet. There are claws on the feet, too.
Greg, you're going to have to use this guy in your campaign.
Right?
I totally am now, yeah.
So I'm pulling him out from under my camera just so I can get to the back side of the claws.
Okay.
Because that's just not happening with the camera in the curves. They don't want to play nicely together.
Are we going to paint the terrain that he's sitting on as well, or standing on as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That will get painted as well.
I made a mess there.
Oh yeah, that's honestly, I saved that part for the end because I find it's easier to do cleanup work after everything gets addressed first. It's just a lot easier that way. But if you're waiting and you would like to paint something else, you can start by using the Beastie Brown if you want to start painting your terrain. Use Beastie Brown with the multi-purpose brush, although I do recommend the detail brush to get in between the toes. Those are my recommendations if you'd like to play ahead of the game. Beat the class. And I need to get the other hand.
Beat the class.
Right? Well, there's always those couple of students like, I worked ahead. I read the chapter ahead. Okay. Lovely. That's
Sure,
great.
there's some advanced painters on here too.
Oh, yeah. And that's just it. I'm sure that people have just often run and doing their own thing, which is also very cool in my book. And the fun thing about the claws is making sure you get the sides too, because those will sometimes come at me, bro. Speaking of come at me.
Got my nails dead is what my guy's saying.
So now that I am done with the claws and the eyes, I'm actually going to go back in and do the spikes. What I'm going to do is go to black. Wait, which one am I doing? Hold on. That's what it is. I'm going to paint the spikes with dark sea green. So that's what the spikes are going to get painted
a
as.
new color.
Yes, dark sea green, which is almost this grayish green color.
There it is. Okay. And
Make
this
sure you
is-
read the label of the paints,
kidding.
Shelly.
No kidding.
So dark sea green, which is sitting next to vermilion,
Yeah,
but
very
it
familiar
actually
with that one.
has a gray tone to it.
Sorry, did you say use the detail brush?
You can use the detail brush if you'd like to, or you can use the multi-purpose. The name of the game is just to get the spikes.
I haven't
With-
used my detail yet,
You can use detail if you want to.
so I'm going to do it now.
There you go. And basically just
Dark
work this onto the spikes. You'll find that there are spikes on the elbows, and there are spikes along the back. And I am just dancing this color onto the spikes. You will have to rotate your mini around a little bit just because of the shape of a spike to get all sides. And sometimes it helps to have just a little bit of a bead at the point of your brush to encourage the paint onto the spike.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That actually is really helpful.
Yeah.
My bead was on the back of the brush, which is less helpful.
Sometimes if you let the paint work for you.
That's my secret.
Mm-hmm.
I just let the boat do all the work.
There you go. All right, so I have my elbow spikes. And now I'm going to move on to the back spikes. Pop question. Spike or Angel, who was better?
I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was not really a Buffy watcher.
Oh, see,
I haven't either. Can you believe that?
I am. I actually went back and I rewatched it. That's another show where it's like some of it was okay and some of like, ooh, not so much anymore.
Well, especially with all the recent stuff about the director.
Exactly. Yep. But I do have a character in a Curse of Strahd campaign I play with friends on the weekend. Chaos Monkeys. If you follow any of us on Twitter, we always talk about our Chaos Monkey group.
Yeah.
So it's very Scooby Strahd is what I call it.
Huh.
But my character, her name is Scylla Drew. And yes, she was based off of Drusilla. But all of her weapons have names. So she has Spike and Angel as her short swords. And her longbow is Giles. And Willow is her quarterstaff. And the list keeps going, literally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for whatever reason, when that show came out, I was just not. That was my theater days, right? So I was just not. I just didn't have any time.
That
I was
makes
working,
sense.
80-hour work weeks, and
Yeah, that's fair.
When you're not on stage, you just want to speak.
Yeah.
So I didn't get into any fandom, and I couldn't afford cable, so
That was another limiting factor.
God,
God, remember that?
Building character.
Mm-hmm. How many channels were there on TV at one point? Like 13 something?
Yeah.
And that's all you got?
Yep.
Yeah, I had the old clicker thing.
Mm-hmm. My grandfather had one of those TVs where it was like tick, 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 as you would turn the knob.
Yes.
Remember
You
that?
actually had to turn the knob, yeah. My grandparents did too.
I was the remote control.
But I used to say, like, this is the only reason you guys had kids. So we can change
the
the
channel for you. Yep.
They would make me stand there, like, and I would go, chick, and they would go, no.
Yep.
No.
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 Yeah.
Try another one.
Hang on.
You know what? Go back to.
Yeah, go back. Can you go back to? Oh,
Yep.
come on.
Yep. Oh my God.
Well, it's a commercial. We'll go to the other one now.
Uh-huh. That or it's like you were like 5 minutes into the show. Mm-hmm. TV Guide.
Yeah, I know. We're really going back in time here.
God. We have not at all dated
TV
ourselves. Remember TV Guide?
Yeah. Remember the TV section in the newspaper?
Right? You could see what was going to be on for like the week ahead on Sundays.
Oh, I would always plan ahead.
Yep.
Or like read that 5-word description of what the Dukes of Hazzard was going to be about on Friday.
Oh my God. I haven't thought of this stuff in ages.
Dukes of Hazzard, man.
Hey, that was a fun one. When you're a kid, I mean, with the whole like racing around and doing crazy things with a car.
Who was your favorite,
Yep.
Bo or Luke?
Luke.
Was Luke the dark-haired one?
Yeah, wasn't he? I thought it was.
That was he was my favorite too.
All right. So now I've gotten all the spikes.
Okay, there is a spike on his what would be his left elbow that
It's
I cannot
tricky.
get. I can't
That's
get it.
okay. You can pretend that spike is just, it doesn't have to be that color. All right, so I'm going to stop with dark sea green. Dark sea green? Yes, dark sea green. So
Dark
those
sea
are the
green.
spikes. Dark sea green. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to get these little twofers taken care of. And I am going to go to my detail brush. And I'm actually going to use Parasite Brown on the teeth. Let me just take a look here.
We have to do
Ooh.
teeth on this guy?
Yes, there's twofers.
Oh, jeez.
See, there's a little teethies on there. So you have
Went to the
four
dentist.
tusk-like things on the bottom, and then you have a row of teeth on the top.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm going into my Parasite Brown.
Okay, that is a very interesting color.
For all the parents out there, I feel you right now.
Yeah. I'm having a little PTSD right now.
Yep. Same. Trust me, I saw that come like, ooh, that was never a good one. So I'm just going to go in with my detail brush, and I'm going to put Parasite Brown onto what I'm going to call the tusks on the lower lip. So there's 4 of those.
4?
Yep.
I think
2 on
I-
each side.
Yep. I made such a mess painting that I
That's
can't
okay.
even see where the tusks are.
I'll get
Oh,
them.
there's 2 little ones.
Yep,
kind
2
of
little
hidden.
ones. And then I'm going to
Yeah.
just very lightly brush the upper teeth with the tip of my detail brush to get that going. So there you go for that.
The upper teeth. Okay.
Yep.
Do those teeth go all the way across, or is it just
No, it's just in that opening between.
little, like-
yeah.
4?
Yep. It's just a quick little brush right there. And then what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this part. This is where we're going into a little bit more high detail work. I'm going to go back in with my multi-purpose brush, and I am going to, theoretically, I'm going to take some of this Parasite Brown. And if you look at the original artwork, which is similar to the render this is over here, there's a little bit of this tawny color that happens on the lips. So I'm just going to do a very light dry brushing of the Parasite Brown along the upper portions of the mouth, just to kind of have that play up a little bit more as what's in the artwork. And you don't have to do this part. I stress that. This is not obligatory. This is a step you can skip if you so choose and don't want to. But this is a little detail that I like to go back in and add.
I'm with you,
Oh,
Greg.
you're doing it on his lips and everything there too.
Yeah, just very lightly.
I went in the mouth.
Uh-oh.
Well, I can
Yeah.
I can go back over with
Yeah.
black, right?
Yep.
It looks
Leave
like
it
Just a
alone,
really quick
Chad.
little.
Leave it alone.
Yep, just a little light dusting around the mouth area
Okay.
is all I'm doing there. And I'm going to leave it at that, and that's only if you want to.
I screwed it up.
Okay, I am
Oh,
going
you
to.
didn't.
Let me just quick and check and see here.
He's got a real blotchy face now.
Maybe he just ate something. Like
He
a
just ate
peanut
some
butter and jelly
chocolate.
sandwich.
Uh-huh.
Or he's a parasite who just has a parasite.
There you go. He's a parasite with a parasite. So while that's drying really quick, I'm going to flip over to checking out some progress. Look at this. Ooh. Zero Reynolds. Great job. Then we have Justice Armand, who's playing as well the home game.
Justice!
Justice!
And,
Lovely. Oh, Nora.
oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, she does a great job with her minis. I love it. Oh, and look at this, Christy.
There's Christy. Oh,
Christy. Oh, look at
I
that.
like the environmental
Me too.
effects we've got going on here.
That's very
That's
good.
that's lovely. That.
Christy, that is very good.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the spa studio sharing with us as well. Look at great progress.
That is
Nice.
amazing.
And Self is my name. Take a look at this one.
Yes.
There, people are. I'm loving this. Oh, and progress from before from Self. Look at this, everyone. And here we have Ange, Celtic Frog, sharing a little shot. And only the 1 hit point. See, now this is fun. With everyone sharing, it is really fun to see all of these.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this. I'm not sure how to say this one. DM Fumble? I think that's DM Fumble. Oh, and Ange does another. Oh, Ange, look at this beautiful dry brushing.
Oh, wow.
Look at the texture.
Oh my God, you can really see it there.
Yes. Oh,
That's
that's showing
good.
up beautiful. Nicely done, Ange. And ooh, we have a video from Burn on the bottom.
Cute.
You get almost like an Inception thing going, because there we are in the back.
Oh,
Oh, look at that. That's fantastic.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it.
And then we're back to Goblincating setup. And oh, Michelle is sharing with us too. Excellent. And here's Xavian. Ooh, very nicely done. You can see how we got into the grooves. And Danny is letting us know that she is watching along. And here we have Ken Costello. Look at everyone. Ooh, burn on the bottom. Again, this is so much fun to see.
Ooh,
Chris
we got a
Johnson.
professional.
We
Oh,
do.
there's Chris Johnson.
There's Chris Johnson.
Looking
Whoa,
good.
I want
There
to know
we
what.
go.
Are we having margaritas there too? What's going on
It's
there?
looking nice. I'm kind of thinking like, I'm
Whoa.
gonna get one of those myself.
Yeah, right?
Uh-huh.
Delicious.
And then we're back with Justin, and it was a progress shot, and Ken Costello. Oh, here we go, Danny. Danny Ogani is sharing. Look at that.
So
Oh,
good.
that's great. You can really see the indentations more from self. And here's Chat Noir Books. Very moody lighting. I like that. Oh, and look at Josh. Josh with his reminder. That's excellent. And then we have Lucas Peters. This is fantastic. I can't wait to go through and give these a really close look.
I am so impressed.
Nice with the
Me
setups.
too. Yeah, this is fantastic. So lovely. Okay, so we could probably get lost looking at this the whole time, but let's go
Aw,
back to
thank you.
this because this is looking great. So now what we're going to do is, while more of this is drying, because I want these things to dry a little bit more, I'm actually going to go in now and we're going to take that Beastie Brown and we are going to start painting the base.
Beastie Brown.
Beastie Brown.
All right.
I need to shake mine a little bit.
Multi-purpose?
Yes, multi-purpose, although I will recommend the details brush helps stick it in between the Tootsie Toes. So if you want to do the details brush first and get between the toesies, and then shift it open to the multi-purpose, you might find that a little bit easier to do because it does get tight between the toes here.
Multi-pass.
Multi-pass, multi-brush. The Ludalis multi-brush. And that is something I will say a lot. I do realize that I do that often. Especially when you go back and you like look at your streams to edit and you're like, oh, I said Lilu Dallas multi-brush a lot today.
And many, many times.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm going to go in and just put Beastie Brown, and I'm using this detail brush around the toes, and then I'll move to multi when I get to the wider spots. So it's kind of like going back to that whole coloring book concept. Sort of give yourself a buffer by drawing around the line first and then going in and filling in the space.
Right, with the bigger brush.
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, it really does.
Do we want to thin this one, or do we want to keep
You
this?
can thin it if you want to. The paint that I got is actually the right consistency in my pot. But if you find your paint's a little thick, then yes, I would thin this out like you did with the heavy red.
If you happen to use the heavy red.
Yes. I love that.
I am just marching to my own drummer.
She is embracing the art of going off the cuff with painting.
That's right. Use all of
Mm-hmm.
palette.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cyclopedia Beastie Brown.
Ha!
God, that's another one I haven't heard in ages.
Well, get a couple of Gen Xers on the hook here, and we'll.
Right? It's all three of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although I supposedly fall into like that micro generation.
Me
Have you heard
too.
about this one? Yeah. It's
What's
like what
the micro?
like there's a micro generation
77 to 83.
77 to 83. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we still had the luxury of the non-tech childhood, but because we were young enough when tech was really taking off, we also took to tech quickly and well. So is it like Xennials or something like that? I forget.
Oh.
I don't even know if there was a term for it, but yeah.
I thought yeah. So it was one of those like quick read article dealies. I'm like, well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because I do, we still remember learning about the card.
Card catalog.
Dewey
Decimal
Decimal
System.
System.
Microfiche.
Yeah.
But then we had email in college.
Yep. God, I had professors who weren't quite sure about how to work email, and they're like, "You need to email it to me." It's like I did 3 times now.
You need to check your email.
Right?
That's how it works.
Well, I'm not seeing it in my inbox. It's like, are you
Like
logged
with
in?
those old green and black terminals where it was just those are
Mm-hmm.
the only colors. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, God.
Remember all that.
Back in my day. Oops, I may have just hopped my brush a little bit onto a toe.
Yeah, I just did that too. He's dirty. He's got a dirty
Exactly,
Right,
exactly. I
yes.
can just go back in and we'll
You
fix.
can really
fix
create
it
a story
later.
for anything you've got going on here.
He left his shoes back at the other house.
toe. I got my shoes and my glasses.
Mm-hmm. What about the
So
Walton
that I
keys?
have them.
Okay, so this was a tweet that I did a few days ago. Like, if I have to go out and I need to remember, like, something important or, like, my lunch or whatever, I will put my car keys in the
I saw you
refrigerator with my
say this.
lunch. Yeah. I didn't realize that wasn't necessarily a thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to put my keys with it.
What did you do?
It's, okay, so say I'm going out and I want to remember my lunch, okay?
Yeah.
I will take my car keys and I will
Yeah.
put my car keys on top of my lunch in the refrigerator. So I can't
okay,
leave the
in the
house. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
leave the house without grabbing my lunch out of the fridge because that's where my keys are.
That makes perfect sense to me.
And then when you lose your keys, you're like, well, did you check the freezer?
That's
And you're
what.
like, wait, what?
What? Why would you look in the refrigerator? Because I decided not to go out and that's where I left my lunch. Okay, so I'm done with my details. I'm going to rinse that quickly. I'm going to shift over to multi-purpose to get the rest of Beastie Brown on the base. Which will now be a little bit of a quicker process because it's a slightly larger brush.
Mhm.
I'm just going to go in and get that swath that's still unpainted. And we are at the 07 mark.
What?
Oops.
So it is 5:07 your time,
This is
8:07.
nuts.
Yeah, I know, right?
How did that happen?
How
I-
you can totally lose yourself in this.
That's just that it's just like, okay, this is it. We're in, we're painting, we're moving, we're grooving.
It's Zen.
I have actually had people send me emails that they will watch my streams because I guess I'm like sort of an ASMR factor for them.
Ah,
They're like,
I
your
could
voice
see
is
that.
so soothing. I'll listen to you at night. I'm like,
you
oh.
do have a soothing voice.
I crack up because sometimes I'm like, when I get with friends and stuff, I get very chatty and very cackly in laughter.
And
So to hear that
kidding.
my voice is soothing, I'm cracking up. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm glad that, the process of watching someone apply paint to a miniature and talk about it is soothing you to sleep.
Yeah.
Happy little trees.
Mm-hmm. But that's just it. Like, I used to watch Bob Ross, like, late at night when they used to put it on, like, late at night. It's like, oh, yeah, I could fall asleep to this. I get that.
Right? On channel 13.
Uh-huh, exactly. PBS. The Dr. B can confirm. Chatty V is fun. Well, thank you, Ralph.
Dr. B.
B, Dr. B.
Hey.
All right, so that is with Beastie Brown. I'm going to let my base dry. Let the base dry. I'm kidding. I just went there for some bizarre reason. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go back and do some more detail work on the eyes. If you want to leave, this is where we're moving over to those who are more intermediate or maybe more advanced. If you want to have some fun and give the eyes a little bit more of an oomph, I'm going to go back to vermilion. And I am going to use the detail brush. And I'm going to put a dot of the vermilion red on the eyeball section of the eye.
Oh, gosh,
Yes.
that's going to be a tiny little dot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I did just lick my brush. It's a bad habit of mine. I fully admit and owe up to it, but that's what I do. So what I do is I basically put a bead of paint onto the tip of my brush and then go in. And it's actually, if you want better control over your miniature, it helps to bring the mini in close to your body and almost hold your hands as if like in prayer is sort of the best way to explain it. And by doing that, it gives your body more stability in your hands so that you can just go in and carefully apply a dot of vermilion onto the eyeball area.
Is
But
that the pupil that you're putting in there?
it's basically the eyeball color itself
I see.
is what I'm covering. And then I'll go back in and I will do a little swatch of black for the pupil.
Oh, boy.
But if you don't feel comfortable doing this part, if you want to just leave the eye blacked out, so it looks like it's sort of like, demon possession-esque, you're
Oh.
more than welcome to do that. You don't have to do this part.
Should our eyes have all been black at this point? because I still had some white around.
Yeah, you can put some black in there too if you want to.
Well, I might want to do it.
Okay. If you do, then paint in the black now and then go back and do this.
All black? It should be all black.
Yeah, see how this eye looks? There's all the black on it.
Yes. I like that view of your Slaad right now. He's just lying there like
Yep.
he's being tickled.
Easy like Sunday
Aw.
morning.
He's
What?
like, can I have some milk?
It's nap time.
Oh, buddy.
It's sleepy time for Slutty.
Who wants some tummy rubs?
Could you imagine? Well, there is that whole like the control gem to him, right?
To control the chaos.
Yeah.
and then-
So if you're controlling one, I mean, you could very well have it set up so that who's ever doing the controlling has it. So it's like, okay, nappy time, sleepy time for Slutty. That would be hysterical, and I am not at all getting ideas right now. No. Nope.
All of your players watching.
Yep.
Like, what?
What is happening? Okay, so I just did the eyeballs, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move to the teeth, keeping it to the detail brush. I'm actually going to go over to light flesh. Make sure your brush is rinsed, though.
I know.
Yeah, you can totally leave the eyes black if you want to, chap. And I'm just going to put, again, a little bit of light flesh onto my detail brush, but I'm going to do a little bit of a dry brush. So I'm going to pull most of that color off. And now I'm going to go in and with the tip of my brush, just lightly glide light flesh over the teeth and the tusks.
Oh, okay.
I'm not looking for beautifully white teeth. I'm just looking to sort of enhance the teeth a little bit more.
Enhance.
Yes.
Oh, I messed it up. This dry brushing is hard.
And that'll come with time. So just a quick little touch like that.
Oh, this guy just got his teeth whitened.
He's an influencer Slaad.
There we go. There we go.
on
It's
the
a
IG.
thing. Yes. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to, and again, this is more detail work. This is the higher detail work. If you want to take it on, you don't have to. If you're happy with how your Slaad is looking with the base painted, with the claws done and everything like that, it is perfectly fine to leave it as is at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to those spikes now. Oh, and I actually see a spiked section that I missed. Hello, turning things in the camera.
Oh, I don't like what I just did.
Oops. Let me just quickly get that one spiked.
Yeah, so what's a good way to get off paint that you put on that you don't want on anymore?
What you can always do is if you have a clean dry brush, you can take the brush, dip it in some clean water, and quickly pull the paint off, and then just keep blotting it off on a paper towel if you want to. There is always the default option then of letting it dry and going back over and touching it up if you'd rather do it that way. Is another way you can handle if you got paint where you didn't want the paint to go. So those are a couple techniques that you can do. I personally, because normally I'll have like a whole bunch of brushes by me, I find just quick grabbing a clean dry brush and dipping it in clean water and then just putting it over where the paint went by accident, I can pull off a good chunk of the paint. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going in with my, what's this one? Black green. And I'm just applying this to the tips of my spikes. Nothing too major, just a little nod to color at the tip of the spikes there. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is artistic license on my part.
What color was that?
That is the black green. I'm just adding it to the tip of my spikes here. Kind of like candy corns, but gray and green.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. Get this elbow spike.
It's a fine detail. If anyone takes the time to notice that, they'll appreciate it.
Like I said, this is an optional if you don't want to do it.
Oh, my spikes aren't great.
We're kind of getting into the point where people can stop and be satisfied with where they are. Or they can kind of do these little extra bits. So I'm going to do that with the spikes. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go back to dark sea green with my multi-purpose brush, and I am going to do a little bit of dry brushing across the claws.
Oh, okay.
Just to bring those out a little bit more.
Sorry, what oh,
Dark sea green.
Okay.
The one that looks gray.
And that is a
The multi-purpose, yep.
brush.
And I'm gonna do a dry brush just to kind of add a little bit more to the look of the claws, just to kind of heighten it a little bit. And you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're happy with just a flat black, you can absolutely keep it that way. But I'm only doing it on the upper portion of the claw. I'm not doing it all around. So I've picked my position and I am just quick doing a dry brush. And you can see this has, and that doesn't. It's a very subtle change, but it's just a little bit more of a detail look. So again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you're not comfortable with that, that's totally okay. I'm sort of showing you like the little extra details you can start putting in here.
Vee, what did you say was the tip of the spikes was black
Dark
green, right?
Yeah, black green. The black green
Black
for
green.
the tip of the spikes. Yep.
And it was dark sea green before. as the
Dark
base
sea.
for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a very subtle difference.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to tell which ones I've
Yeah.
done already.
Yeah. It's just a light change.
Just
Which
the
is why I
tips.
said if you want to, you can skip that part. But this is where if you want to learn to just a little bit more details to everything, you can go in and add that. And I will do the same
we have
thing.
you teaching us all
Yeah.
this amazing stuff.
Oh, I'm glad
I would
you're...
never have thought to do like multicolored spikes. I would have been like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, spikes, one
Yes.
color, you're done.
Black.
Yep. And I'm doing the same thing on the toes as well, just putting a little bit of that dark sea gray, or green, I should say,
It's really pretty. It's a nice
just
color.
on the top part.
Very pretty.
Yep. So just like that on the top. So you have your sled at this point. So if you wanted to stop here as well, you could absolutely stop here. The other option you can do now is if you wanted to go in and if you wanted to give the little extra touches of color with the purples and the greens, you can go in and do that part now too. So I'm going to go back to my multi-purpose and I'm going to go to Hexed Lichen. Now this is one I would recommend you do if you are comfortable with dry brushing. Actually, let me shake this up more. If you're not comfortable with dry brushing, this is a step that I wouldn't recommend doing.
Okay.
Because basically what I am doing is I'm adding in just those little bits of shadow that you can see here on this particular mini. And that is, when you look down at the render below, you can see there are these nods of purple in the artwork. So there is that. So I'm just going to do a quick little touch with my multi-purpose. And again, this is dry brushing, and if you're comfortable with it, fantastic. If not, you do not have to do this part. But I'm just going to sweep across the tummy through here and just add a little bit of this purple just to kind of play with the color that you see happening on that render. It's just a light touch. It's nothing heavy-handed. And it doesn't have to happen if you don't want it to. So I'm going to put it there.
I'm just gonna go for it.
Okay, cool.
Do it. Do it.
I'm not comfortable with the dry brush, but you know what? It's a cool color, and I want to use all my colors.
Yep. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put a little bit on the inside of the arms. And this is more, this is just more fussy work on my part. If you want to do it, fantastic. Just
Dry
like
brushing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I messed up.
See?
He looks terrible.
Oh,
now
no.
I see why you said
If you want to, yeah.
don't do it if you're not comfortable.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable with it. This
Well,
is
but
something
you know
that
what?
comes,
Just
this is
paint over
more,
it.
yeah,
Just paint
this is
over
something more like at the intermediate level. If you're comfortable using dry brushing, then by all means you can go in. I'm just going to put it also at the top of the feet, a little bit of that purple. And I'm just going to leave it at that, just a little touch. And
So I don't know if this is a good thing to do, but I made a little bit of a paper towel wet.
Okay.
And
You're
if
blotting?
I screwed up on the dry brushing, I'm blotting.
you can do
Is
that.
that bad or good?
No, it's totally fine. Just don't
Good idea.
rub back and forth too hard because you could pull the paint off.
Because it's not all dry. yet.
Yes, be careful that you don't get too rough with it. That's why the brushes are nice, because they kind of move over the surface. A paper towel might rub unintentionally rub that off. So that's with the purple. And then if you want to go in and you want to add in different bits of green, I just did on my sample piece, I did like these fun little slashes. For those, I use the Park Green Flat Green as well as the Refractive Green. So if you want to go in and have some fun and add in these details to your Slaad, you can go in and use Park Green Flat or Refractive Green or a mix of both, just to kind of add in those little extra detail works if you want to.
And you're just putting those wherever?
Yeah, it's just basically however you want to do it, like, you know, fun little splatters and patterns. You can absolutely do that. So while people are doing that, I am actually going to go into, let's take a look. I think it'd be fun because we're at the 8:20, 5:20 mark. So we're going to be wrapping this up soon. And right now I can't do the dry brushing on my base yet because I'm going to go back with Parasite Brown and do a dry brush on the base to bring out the texture in the base, but my paint is still wet. If you do dry brushing while your paint is wet, you're going to blur the colors together and muddy your colors. So I want that to be drier before I go in and do that. But what I think would be fun, because I'm seeing people in the chat talking about doing this and how they're enjoying themselves, which is fantastic. Don't forget, this is something that's going to keep going, and we will have other kits coming out. So if you want to join me in June for our next paint party here on WizKids, I think it's time that we reveal who our next guests are and what the kit's going to be. What do we think? Yes? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. So this is who we are going to be having next month on June 5th. We're going to have Nora Ibrahim and Tanya DePass. Both of them are fantastic players on Black Die Society, which, by the way, if you're watching on D&D Twitch right now, they're going to be having another showing of that episode, this week's episode, right after this is done. So if you want to stick around and see what's going on in Ravenloft and get a feel for Van Richten's, then definitely be sure to check out Black Die Society. So I'm very much looking forward to having these two special guests with me next month. So if you want to join us, you can always reach out to your FLGS. These, again, are available at your local stores, and you get a chance to join me yet again with some more fantastic guests. I thought that'd be something fun to reveal to everyone. So mark your calendars. June 5th, I believe we're going for 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 Pacific, if you're looking for the exact times. But we'll be releasing more details about that next week. We want to make sure that people didn't get confused between the two happening. But yeah, that's going to be the Dire Troll Paint Night Kit too. So a lot of fun, very cool. If you type in !Dire Troll, you will get information about the Dire Troll and be led to its web page too. So you can read more details about that in terms of what's in the kit and where you can find them and find a store near you that has them. So that's the fun announcement for next month. And I think we should go and check out, let me see here. I'm going to do a refresh and see if we have some more lovely shares of how people are doing. Any updates? I'm just doing a quick scroll through to see. Looks like we have pretty much the same one. So if you are in progress and you haven't taken your picture yet, don't forget, you can also go in and take your photos and share them with the hashtag that's, right here. And, right here. Can you point for me, sir? There we go. Right here. Right here, WK Paint Party, and we will take a look. So he's drawing a little bit more. I'm going to go in and I'm going to quickly dare I do the eyeballs? Dare I do the pupils? Let's do that one.
What are you going to do to him?
I'm going to give him the little slashy pupil like this one has. So it has that reptilian eye.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt that. So this I need to definitely go to my detail brush. The fine detail brush. Oh, Goblin Katie is go to your Twitter. You memed. Oh, well, take a look at the memed one. All right, so all I am doing is I'm getting, again, a dollop of paint on the tip of my brush. I will use my nails sometimes.
What color are you going to do?
Just straight up black for the pupil. And then what I'm going to do is have it face me. And here is Moment of Truth. Just lightly. There's one. Let's see. Can I get them both? And is he looking at us? He's looking at us. Yay! There's 1 and 2.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
You
kind
don't
of
have to.
dexterity.
That's for, if you're
Not
up there and
yet.
you want to. Exactly.
Aspirational.
Yep.
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 So there we go. We got the
Gotta
pupils
leave
on
him
there.
wanting more.
There we go. And then we still have about 5 minutes left.
I gotta be honest. It's not perfect, but I can't believe it's this good.
I'm glad. Yay.
Right?
Because I know you were like, oh, it's not going to be. What do you think?
Yeah.
Have I brought you into the mini painting wagon?
You might have.
I may have.
Like I actually did. This was delightful. I mean, if I could always have you guiding me, yeah,
Okay.
probably. So you probably got me on your next stream in the chat there, following along.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's just, I'm really surprised that it can, like you said, it's going to be 3 feet away,
Right?
but like his little teeth look.
Yay.
Right.
Did you take your progress shot and share on Twitter?
I'll do that.
If you take your progress
just
shot and
so-
share on Twitter.
I want you guys like check out his.
That's just it.
mouth.
Take a picture and I'll hop over and
Okay.
pull up your. Right now, I'm just going in with refractive green. I'm giving this one freckles this time, as opposed to the slashes that I did with the other one.
Don't be blurry. Come on.
Don't blur on me now.
The blurriness makes it look like I didn't do as good of a job.
Well, and honestly, you can get the best pictures for your miniatures out in sunlight. I find those are
Oh, well, I have some nice sunlight
natural
coming in
light.
right now.
Definitely helps. I'm just going through and I'm giving him some slight frecklage.
Yeah, one eye looks really good. The other one does not look as good.
And that can happen sometimes. If you ever have a problem with eyes, sometimes I find it helps to flip the mini over. Because then the brain doesn't recognize it as a face and it's actually easier to get them more symmetrical.
Really interesting.
Yeah, your brain disassociates the form of the human face or a humanoid face. So it's easier to figure out your symmetry. Yeah, I'm just getting him some fun little frecklage. I like that. He got freckles.
So I missed the green step. What color did you use for the green slashes?
For the green slashes, you can use both the Park Green Flat or you can use the Green Refractive for that little extra detail if you want to go in and do that. So let's see here. Did you have a chance to share yours, Shelly?
I did.
You did. Okay. Let me go specifically to Shelly's.
It's the one that says more detail.
Okay. More detail.
I kind of like his mouth.
What do you think? Ken?
Hey, you did a great
So
job with
cool.
that. Okay, let's
Awesome.
see here. Go to the submission section. Here's Shelly's.
Look at his
Looking
mouth. And you
good.
can see he has teeth,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Yeah. I'm impressed. with him.
For your first
really
mini,
am.
you did a great job.
Yeah,
That's
I-
looking
Look good.
really good.
He-
Nicely done. Did you get
so
yours in there,
proud.
Craig? You should be proud.
Oh,
did,
Greg,
I
from
did.
here, yours
did.
looks amazing.
Let me pull
I
up.
really like him.
Let's go to
Oh, it's
Greg's.
my Lego.
Let's search Twitter. Let's go with Greg.
Here's me.
Here's a mini. It's progress. Is this the last? Yep.
Nice.
Here we go. Hey, that looks
Greg, that's
great.
So good.
Nicely done.
Yours looks shiny too, and like the details
Uh-huh.
really stand out in that.
You guys
Did you
did a
put
great
down-
job for your first miniature painting. You guys did
We're
great.
impressed.
I am very,
thank you.
very gold stars for everyone. Yay! That looks
Yeah.
so
Stars
good.
For you, our teacher.
Oh, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I honestly, I'm thrilled to bits that you enjoyed this. Quite frankly, I am
I
so happy about
am-
that.
I really loved it. I really did.
That
It
is.
does. I mean, you mentioned coloring books and like that. You know, the adult coloring book thing was certainly
Oh, yeah.
a trend during COVID for a lot of people. And this
Yes.
feels like that. It feels that same niche of like you
Yeah.
can kind of forget yourself.
Yep.
You're just making
Exactly.
it
You
happen.
just get that.
And,
Yes.
It's
What
a
a fun
thing.
little
Feeling no
hobby.
lines.
It is an absolute thing. So we're getting right to that 8:30 on the dot almost. So that is, I'm quite thrilled with this. If you wanted to really finish off that base, like I said, you can go back and do a Parasite Brown. My base is still a little bit too wet to do that, so I don't want to do that quite yet. But if you go back in with Parasite Brown and just do a dry brushing over the base, it'll bring out the texture that's on the base too. It's enough of a difference between the Beastie Brown to show the difference. So that would sort of be the last step I would recommend doing in terms of your miniature. So right through here, you can get some texture brought out. You can see right there, if you go back through with your Parasite Brown, that should do the trick. So if you have enjoyed painting with us today, I would absolutely love it if you could go back in, use that hashtag WK Paint Party, and share what you have done with us while you sat and watched. And I'm going to go through this evening and just see what everyone's done. I'm going to hop over on Instagram and hop over to other places and see what we can find. But keep in mind, we're going to try and do these once a month with WizKids so that you can jump in, hang out with us, and get some painting going on the various kits. So the Red Slaad Paint Night Kit is available in stores for an event through May. With a participating store. And then starting through May into June, we have the Dire Troll Paint Night Kit also available. And don't forget, in addition to those, you have the other kits that previously happened with the Ogre Zombie Paint Night, and you also had the Manticore Paint Night Kit. So those are also floating around too. So definitely keep your ears open. And, further down the line, we're going to have some other cool kits that might be involving, a Death Tyrant and a Bone Claw, just saying. So if you're interested about those are coming further down the year. So that's going to be fun too. And I am going through and I am lining up some fantastic guests to join me so that we can have more fun like we did tonight with Greg and Shelly. Don't forget, if you want to follow Greg and Shelly and check out their socials, you can see what they've done with their slaads up close and personal. Type in ! Shelly, type in ! Greg, and their links are going to pop up. If you want to check out Dragon Talk and hear some of the fantastic previous episodes and the upcoming episodes, then type in ! Dragon Talk, and that'll lead you into some links for there. If you want to check out the official pages for the Red Slaad Paint Night Kit as well as for the Dire Troll Paint Night Kit, guess what? ! Red Slaad, ! Dire Troll. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Oh, if you want to check out what I'm doing, because, I'm kind of here, there, and everywhere, ! Vee. And that'll give you links to my socials as well, so you can check out everything going on with my end. And if you want to find a store near you that carries these fantastic kits as well as other great products from WizKids, from our D&D line, and so on and so forth, type in ! Local, and that'll help you find a store near you. All you'll need to do is plug in your address, determine how far you want to travel, and it'll give you a list of stores that carry WizKids products. Always reach out to your local store, see what they have in stock. If something is not there, make sure you ask them about it, and they can reach out and hopefully get that for you as well. So yeah, this has been a lovely evening with the two of you. So thank you so much for doing this with me, because that was one of those things we were chatting. I'm like, come paint with me, and you did.
You jumped right in.
Honestly, I don't know how you did it, how you convinced me, at least.
I'm so glad you did. I
very
really
much
am.
Out of my comfort zone, and here I am loving it.
You did it,
so
and you did a fantastic job. You're very welcome. Thank you to everyone who hung out with us in the chat. Yeah. If you want a chance to see all the fantastic people who were hanging out with us and helping us get word out for the past few weeks, my Hype Train crew, please go to the Red Slaad page and you will see a list of all the participants that we had who also helped us out and were painting along with us, and click on their names. It'll take you to their Twitter accounts so you can follow them as well. But very special thanks to the Hype Train crew. You know who you are. I'm going to be reaching out to you when I'm done and saying thank you. And is there anything that the two of you would like to share before I bring this to a close this evening?
I just want to underline what Shelly said and say thank you, Vee, for teaching us so much. 2 hours, and we got this amazing looking mini, very, very quickly, well done, and it's all due to your enthusiasm for it. So thank you so much.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really am. Thank you so much.
You're an amazing teacher. You really are.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And these paint night kits are amazing.
They're wonderful.
Everything you need.
Everything you need except for water and paper towels is literally what I tell people. I'm like, just get paper towels and water and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, that's so
you can't go wrong. Yeah, and you can get a few minis out of it too, because I've actually used the same kit twice now because I had an extra Slaad mini. So
I love that I have my paper towel that has
you could
all my
frame it.
Yeah,
you need to sign it.
Beautiful,
right?
Jackson Pollock couldn't have done it better.
Exactly.
And I love that I have all this heavy red paint left because I didn't use
nothing.
it.
Well, I mean, that's where you can get another one and paint another one. And they can have friends, right?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So I'm going to wrap this up and say thank you to everyone in the chat. I'm going to sign off the way I always sign off with all of my live streams. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll see you on the flip side. Until later, everyone, take care and bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.